Chapter 133. This person actually rejected Yang Shuhui. The few cultivators who knew Yang Shuhui were surprised. In Fu Prefecture's Yu sect, Yang Shuhui was a famous existence. There were very few cultivators that could enter her eyes, but this true condensation 4th level cultivator was fancied by someone else, and unexpectedly refused. His vision is quite high. In the distance, the veiled woman who had been staring at Ning Cheng unconsciously spoke out. The middle-aged man beside her smiled faintly. He has the qualifications. I reckon that he isn't even 30 years old yet. To have such ability, his spirit root must be pretty good. I didn't expect that a barren place like the Ping continent would have such a cultivator. The woman wearing the veil chuckled, Uncle Tian, do you want to recommend this person to the elders, so that he can join our Wunyan Academy? The middle-aged man once again smiled and said, this young man is indeed good, but it is only because he comprehended a good act's intent. If one could casually join the Wunyan Academy, then the Wunyan Academy would not have such a big reputation. Rushua, you have to remember that although your aptitude is better than anyone else's, you must be careful here. At least before you grow up, don't look down on anyone. I understand. The veiled woman nodded, then turned around and quickly left. The middle-aged man quickly followed her. The two of them turned a blind eye to the endless spirit stone mine here, let alone mining. After Ning Cheng once again entered the mine, the first thing he did was to throw out some array flags, and arrange a shielding array formation. Not only did he block other people's spiritual senses, but he also blocked the overflow of spiritual energy. Some of the cultivators who paid close attention to Ning Cheng, after learning that Ning Cheng was also an array formation master, quickly shifted their spiritual senses away. It was not that Ning Cheng had just thought of arranging an array formation, but rather he had deliberately waited for people to find him, and only after he had established his prestige, did he come to do so. Otherwise, he would have to set up a new formation. Now that he had established his prestige, no one dared to come to his mind to make a fuss. After arranging the array formation, Ning Cheng sped up his mining speed, as he collected the low-grade spirit stones into his storage bag. In just the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng found a spirit stone with a much richer spiritual qi compared to the low-grade spirit stones. Ning Cheng was overjoyed in his heart, he knew that these were medium-grade spirit stones. This mine had only been excavated for a short period of time, and they had already discovered a middle-grade spirit stone. There would definitely be even higher-grade spirit stones later on. The facts proved that Ning Cheng was not wrong. After digging for another 2 hours, he finally managed to dig out a few high-grade spirit stones. The high-grade spirit stones in the spirit stone mine he was informed a spirit stone line. Surrounded by low-grade spirit stones and medium-grade spirit stones, at this time Ning Cheng no longer had any interest in low-grade spirit stones and medium-grade spirit stones, he put all of his energy into the high-grade spirit stone mine. Ning Cheng was practically digging out spirit stones day and night, he was very glad that he had snatched a few storage bags, otherwise he would not even have a place to put his spirit stones. Ning Cheng did not know for how long he had been digging, but when an extremely soft milky white light appeared in front of him, Ning Cheng's heart suddenly started to beat wildly. He knew that he had also dug out the best quality spirit stones, and it was not just one. Suppressing the excitement in his heart, Ning Cheng quickly and carefully dug out the 7 best quality spirit stones and put them into his storage bag. After digging out the 7 best quality spirit stones, Ning Cheng once again dug out, but found that there were no more spirit stones. He knew that he had already dug out the entire spirit stone mine line. As for the many low-grade spirit stones around him, he simply did not have any interest in them. Ning Cheng immediately used the dust removal technique on himself, and quickly came out of the mine. He decided to leave this place. He had obtained enough spirit stones, the next thing he wanted to do was to use all of his time to cultivate. Seeing Ning Cheng come out, many of the surrounding cultivators immediately swarmed into the spirit stone mine that Ning Cheng had dug out. There are a lot of low-grade spirit stones, and there are even medium-grade spirit stones. Ning Cheng had already removed the shielding restriction, allowing everyone to clearly see the situation inside. Even the medium-grade spirit stones were not taken, which immediately caused some people to stare at Ning Cheng. How many spirit stones did he dig out, for these medium-grade spirit stones to be so dismissive? Some of the best quality spirit stones were dug out. Some of the more experienced cultivators had already judged that Ning Cheng had dug out the best quality spirit stones. Ning Cheng immediately knew that this was not good, as he stimulated his true essence to the max and wanted to leave this place. Previously, an essence-building cultivator, because he had dug out a best quality spirit stone, was seen by others, and even lost his life. But his cultivation level was only at true condensation 4th level, so how could he bear it? But even though he was fast, the others were even faster. Dozens of true condensation cultivators had already surrounded Ning Cheng, moreover there was even an essence-building cultivator among them. But these were not the things that worried Ning Cheng the most. What worried him the most was that there were still a few essence-building cultivators staring at him from a distance, as if they would come over at any time. Ning Cheng knew that any words he said at this time would only be nonsense, as such he did not hesitate to bring out his golden great axe, as he did not hold back even a little bit of his true essence, as a fierce axe-type killing intent was stirred up. The surrounding true condensation cultivators knew that Ning Cheng's great axe was very powerful, as such they immediately retreated. They wanted to wait for Ning Cheng's true essence to dry up, and then only then would they make their move against Ning Cheng. But that essence-building cultivator was not even the slightest bit afraid, as he raised his hand and brought out a steel fan. As he waved the fan's shadow, the surrounding imposing manner was completely swept up by him. He had seen Ning Cheng's axe-type killing intent. As long as he could wrap around Ning Cheng's axe-type killing intent, then he would be able to easily kill Ning Cheng. The imposing manner of the true essence and Ning Cheng's axe-type killing intent had not yet completely collided together, when a clear trace of the magical technique exploded in the air. Although the great axe was filled with a berserk killing intent, but it did not bring out a large number of golden axe shadows like before, rather it formed a huge whirlpool of axe-type killing intent, as it brought out a tornado-like axe-type killing intent. The killing force in a radius of several feet was completely gathered together by this great axe. It made people feel that as long as they were in the middle of this whirlpool, then they would be blasted into nothingness by this tornado of axe-type killing intent. This essence-building cultivator had misjudged Ning Cheng's tornado. He thought that Ning Cheng would still use the angry axe's first form, but he did not expect that Ning Cheng would suddenly use the angry axe's second form, tornado. Although his imposing manner was formidable, but it was simply unable to resist the killing force that had formed into a powerful whirlpool. Bang! The golden great axe finally brought out the tornado of killing intent and solidly bombarded the imposing manner of the essence-building cultivator's steel fan. The huge might behind it directly blew away the nearby true condensation cultivators. This essence-building cultivator bore the brunt of the attack, and was directly bombarded by the tornado of killing intent. Even if he was already at the intermediate stage of essence-building realm, but he was directly blown away by this terrifying whirlpool of axe-type killing intent. As he spat out a few mouthfuls of blood in the air, even his internal organs were spat out. Even if that was the case, this essence-building cultivator was still able to call back his steel fan-type artifact in the air. Although the steel fan-type artifact was blown away by Ning Cheng's tornado of killing force, but it was once again called back by the essence-building cultivator. After the steel fan was in the hands of this essence-building cultivator, he casually waved it, and simultaneously shot out 3 white blade lights. These 3 blade lights directly cut through the distance between him and Ning Cheng, as they rumbled towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng's tornado of killing intent was far beyond the expectations of this essence-building cultivator, but his true essence and spiritual sense, when compared to an essence-building cultivator, was simply too far apart. Even if he had taken the absolute initiative, but he was still hit by the formidable true essence imposing manner, as it exploded on his chest, and he was also sent flying upside down. At this time, the opposite party's steel fan once again blasted out 3 white blade lights. Ning Cheng was also in the air. He could only barely avoid one of the blade lights. If his strength was enough, he could once again use the first trace, and block the remaining 2 terrifying blade lights. Unfortunately, Ning Cheng did not have this kind of strength. All he could do was to crazily stimulate his true essence, and was barely able to block the golden great axe's vital points. Cha-cha, the two white blade lights exploded on top of the golden great axe, giving out an unpleasant grinding sound, as a formidable force once again passed through the golden great axe and exploded on Ning Cheng's chest. Caw-caw, several sounds of bones breaking could be heard, as Ning Cheng once again crazily spurted out a few mouthfuls of blood, while at the same time he was seriously injured. This was because the essence-building cultivator was seriously injured, and had brought out those two white lights in the process of retreating. Moreover, when those two white lights exploded on Ning Cheng's body, Ning Cheng was still retreating. If that essence-building cultivator had seriously brought out these two white lights, and Ning Cheng was not moving backwards, then Ning Cheng estimated that he would have already been split into two halves. Ning Cheng was seriously injured. Several true condensation cultivators instantly rushed over. They wanted to snatch Ning Cheng's storage bag and escape. However, even if Ning Cheng was seriously injured, he was still facing an intermediate-stage essence-building cultivator. As such a few true condensation cultivators, they really could not stop him. Still in the air, Ning Cheng once again stimulated his true essence, and used the angry axe, the first trace. His broken sternum made Ning Cheng's face break out in a cold sweat, and his complexion became incomparably pale. Even if that was the case, the angry axe, the first trace, was still able to cut apart the 5 early-stage and intermediate-stage true condensation cultivators in front of him. After Ning Cheng killed those 5 cultivators, he did not dare to delay even for a moment. He did not even care about the consequences, as he crazily burned his remaining true essence to escape. Before, when he was facing the fatal attack from the essence-building cultivator, Ning Cheng did not even burn his true essence. It was because he was waiting for this moment to escape. From the time Ning Cheng was surrounded by the others, to the time Ning Cheng exchanged a move with that intermediate-stage essence-building cultivator, to the time Ning Cheng killed those 5 people and escaped, it all happened in just a few breaths of time. The several early-stage essence-building cultivators who came near hesitated for a moment, when they saw that Ning Cheng was even able to seriously injure an intermediate-stage essence-building cultivator. They could not help but hesitate. Because of this slight hesitation, Ning Cheng had already disappeared from their sight. But there were more than a dozen true condensation cultivators at the edge of the battlefield who knew that Ning Cheng was already an arrow at the end of its flight. As such, after Ning Cheng escaped, they immediately chased after him. For a true condensation cultivator, a best quality spirit stone was much more precious than a true condensation pill. A true condensation pill also had pill poison, so what could be better than using a best quality spirit stone to cultivate in the true condensation realm? One of the essence-building cultivators hesitated for a moment, and finally chased after the direction where Ning Cheng disappeared. Most of the essence-building cultivators did not chase after Ning Cheng. Whether or not Ning Cheng had obtained a best quality spirit stone, they did not know. Rather than wasting time chasing after Ning Cheng, it would be better to dig up some high-grade spirit stones here. Chapter 134. Ning Cheng knew that his injuries were too heavy. As such, he did not dare to go back directly, but rather changed a direction and desperately ran. His true essence and spiritual sense were much more powerful than the average true condensation cultivators, but now that he was desperately burning his true essence, his speed was incomparably fast. In just a short time, he had already rushed out of the range of the true condensation cultivator's spiritual sense. But Ning Cheng knew that if he continued on like this, then he would definitely be caught by an essence-building cultivator. After escaping to a certain distance, Ning Cheng directly hid in a gully, while simultaneously throwing out dozens of array flags. This was the level 2 shielding array formation that Ning Cheng had arranged in the shortest possible time. He knew that at this time, other than using an array formation, there was no other way. If it was only a true condensation cultivator chasing him, then he could still escape, but in case there was an essence-building cultivator chasing him, then he would not be so lucky. Fortunately, only essence-building cultivators could enter this place, otherwise even if he arranged a concealment array formation, it would not be of any use. Inside the concealment array formation, Ning Cheng converged his aura, and carefully swallowed a mysterious frost zoisha. The injuries he had suffered were far too severe. Not only that, but after being seriously injured, he had still forcibly stimulated his true essence and burned it to escape. This made things even worse for him. If not for the mysterious yellow origin remolding his meridians, then Ning Cheng's meridians would have completely shattered. Even if a true condensation 4th level cultivator was powerful, they would not be able to contend against an essence-building cultivator, not to mention a middle-stage essence-building cultivator. Ning Cheng endured the tearing pain all over his body, and laughed at himself in his heart. He had thought that this whirlwind would be able to kill an essence-building cultivator. This whirlwind was able to kill an essence-building cultivator. It was definitely an early-stage essence-building cultivator who was successfully sneak attacked by him, otherwise he absolutely would not be able to kill an essence-building cultivator. Previously, when that intermediate-stage essence-building cultivator was seriously injured, he also suspected that he had sneak attacked him, otherwise he would not have been able to take advantage of him. The effect of the mysterious frost Zoisha was very good, but it was not omnipotent. After all, it was not the profound replenishment pill. His injuries were still getting more and more serious. If he took the mysterious frost Zoisha, he could immediately combine it with his true essence to dissolve the medicinal properties of the spiritual grasses. Perhaps it would have an effect. At this moment, Ning Qing did not even dare to stretch out his spiritual sense, not to mention revolving his true essence to heal himself. With so many people chasing after him, he wouldn't be able to escape far. Once there was a fluctuation of spiritual energy, he would definitely be discovered. After a full 3 hours passed by, Ning Qing started to feel increasingly weak. If he did not find a place to heal himself, then perhaps his foundation would once again be destroyed. The mysterious yellow origin had helped him reshape it once, so who knew if it could reshape it a second time. He carefully extended his divine sense, and after confirming that there was no one around, he quickly came out of his hiding place, changed his direction, and ran towards the river as fast as he could. Yuing impatiently paced back and forth in the small hall. She was not only impatient, but also afraid. This was the bottom of the river, and there was no one around. Even the sound was isolated by the array formation. This kind of loneliness and solitude made it impossible for her to feel at ease, let alone cultivate. When she hid in the cave alone, she could at least hear all kinds of sounds. Although he was afraid, he didn't know how lonely he was. Only now did she realize that a world without sound was the loneliest. When would Ningqin come back? He had been gone for nearly 4 days. After wandering around for a long time, Yuing finally could not stand this kind of loneliness without any sound. She wanted to go up and have a look. Yuing walked out of the crescent-shaped arch, and took out the array flag that Ning Cheng had given her and threw it down. Sure enough, the broken gap that Ning Cheng had temporarily sealed up once again opened up. Yuing swam in the somewhat cold river water, but on the contrary she calmed down. She finally heard a sound, indicating that she was not the only person in this world. Even if there was only the sound of the water and the sound of the fish swimming, it was still good. After drilling out of the water, Yuing had just taken a deep breath, when she saw Ning Cheng lying on the riverside covered in blood. It was obvious that he was seriously injured. Yuing was shocked in her heart. She quickly rushed out of the river, and picked up Ning Cheng. Yuing was not ignorant. When she held Ning Cheng in her arms, she knew that Ning Cheng was still breathing, but he had already switched to internal breathing. It seemed that he was healing himself. Yuing calmed down a bit, and imitated Ning Cheng. She fixed Ning Cheng on her back. But when she was ready to dive into the river, she saw the blood on the riverside. Yuing quickly used the water to wash away the blood, and once again dived into the water with Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng was seriously injured. It was obvious that he was being chased by others. In case the others saw the blood and came here, it would be the end for them. Fortunately, the thing that Yuing was worried about did not happen. She put Ning Cheng on her back into the concealment array formation, and once again put away the array flag. Only then did Yu Ying's nervous heart calm down a bit. Yuing put Ning Cheng down on the exquisite wooden bed. Looking at Ning Cheng, who still had not woken up, she felt a bit embarrassed. Ning Cheng's injuries were so serious, she did not know what to do. She could not let Ning Cheng lie down with his whole body wet, right? After thinking for a long time, Yuing still took off Ning Cheng's wet clothes. Looking at the shocking wound on Ning Cheng's chest, Yuing was secretly shocked in her heart. Ning Cheng was seriously injured, and yet he was still able to return to this place. Carefully wiping off the blood on Ning Cheng's body, Ying looked at Ning Cheng's shorts, and finally did not have the courage to help Ning Cheng take it off. Not to mention taking it off, just looking at it made her tremble with fear. If it was replaced with an E, then she would definitely not hesitate to help Ning Cheng strip naked. But she and an E were different, she knew a lot more than an E. She did not go through Ning Cheng's storage bag, but just covered Ning Cheng's body with a thin silk quilt that was originally on the side of the wooden bed. When Ning Cheng was brought back to the bed by Ying, the injuries on his body had already begun to heal automatically. If it was someone else who was crazily burning their true essence to escape, even if it did not hurt their foundation, it would not be a matter of a day or two. Ning Cheng's meridians were remolded by the mysterious yellow origin, so although the burning of his true essence was serious, it was not enough to hurt his foundation. Now that he felt safe, he subconsciously closed his six senses. Ning Cheng, who had rarely dreamed since he started cultivating, once again had a very long dream. He brought Luo Fei back to Jiangzhou, and held a very grand wedding in Jiangzhou. His younger sister Ruolan was present at his wedding. When he wanted to talk to his younger sister actually ignored him. She said that he was fickle in love with the new and tired of the old, and found Ji Luo Fei, and forgot about Tian Mu Wan. But at this time, he actually saw Tian Mu Wan among the guests, but the person accompanying Tian Mu Wan was the same person who had driven her away. Ning Cheng suddenly broke out in a cold sweat, as he suddenly sat up. "You woke up, you scared me to death." Ying knew that Ning Cheng's meridians were beating more and more strongly, but she was still very worried. After all, Ning Cheng had not woken up since she had carried him back. Ning Cheng glanced at the few storage bags beside him, and knew in his heart that it was Ying who had saved him. Before he had fallen on the riverside, he still had some consciousness, but his body was too bad, and there was no way for him to return to the river. "Ying, thank you for saving me." Ning Cheng sighed, and sat up. As long as he returned to this place, even if his injuries were more serious, he would be able to recover quickly. Ying, on seeing Ning Cheng's naked upper body, her face turned red and said, "I was a bit anxious to stay here alone, so I went out to have a look. I did not expect to see you lying on the riverside." Ning Cheng nodded, as he took out a robe and casually put it on, as he sighed and said, "I will not be going out for some time. And, after 3 months, we will be transmitted out together." When Ying heard that Ning Cheng would not be able to go out, she was the happiest in her heart. She was afraid that she would be left alone in this place. Ning Cheng shook his head. "Even if the 3 months are up, I estimate that I will not be able to go out. If I have not guessed wrong, then this place should have an array formation that I cannot see. Perhaps it would not be affected by the transmission. If this place could also be transmitted out, then the senior who opened up this place would have already been transmitted out. How could he open up an immortal cave in this place? Why not go out?" Ying asked in surprise. As for Ning Cheng saying that this place would not be transmitted out, she completely ignored it. "That old man surnamed Kong would not let me go. I do not have the strength. If I go out then I would only be courting death." Ning Cheng spoke in a deep voice. For Ning Cheng, if he could stay in this place, then he would definitely not go out. After all, he and that old man surnamed Kong had not completely shed all pretense of cordiality. Once they completely shed all pretense of cordiality, then perhaps even Ji Luofei would suffer a calamity. Ying quickly asked, "Senior Kong is very easy to talk to, moreover he is also a good person, moreover he is even more amiable to me. If you offended him, then I will go and talk to him. He should not be able to do anything to you." Ning Cheng sneered, "You go and talk to him, you should think about yourself first. You should be glad that you were squeezed into this place, otherwise you would absolutely not have a good end. Do not think that I am exaggerating things." "Ah." Ying looked at Ning Cheng in shock. She even forgot to ask Ning Cheng why she would not have a good end. Ning Cheng was silent for a moment before he asked, "Ying, how many changes did you see in the first round of the 5-star tournament?" "There were a total of more than 50 changes, but I felt that there should be more changes, it's just that I could not see that many." Ying honestly replied. "In the second round of the tournament, what did you comprehend?" Ning Cheng once again asked. Ewing frowned. She felt that there was something wrong with this matter, but she still did not conceal anything from Ning Cheng and said, I felt that those changes were the source of a cultivation method. It seems that I saw the most ancient and most mysterious thing, but I was not able to understand what that thing was. Ning Cheng, on hearing Yu Ying's words, suddenly froze. Ewing was able to see more than 50 changes. It was already completely beyond his expectations. But he did not think that Yu Ying's understanding of the changes in the leather parchment was completely different from his. What he saw was more than 600 changes. The changes that he saw seemed to be some kind of cultivation method or magical technique. But Ewing actually saw the origin of a cultivation method. Did Ewing have a more thorough understanding than him? Chapter 135. Ning Cheng quickly put this question aside, and said to Ewing in a dignified manner, I thought that the person surnamed Kang brought you to the Jia continent, not to let you participate in the 7-Star Academy, but to bring you back to his immortal cave. If I did not guess wrong, then the first and second round of the test was deliberately done by him. He obtained a very good leather scroll, but was unable to unlock the contents of the leather scroll. Ewing was not stupid. Ning Cheng had not finished his words. She completely understood the meaning of Ning Cheng's words. She looked at Ning Cheng with some disbelief and asked, You mean to say that he wanted me to help him unlock the contents of the leather scroll? Ning Cheng once again sneered, If that is the case, then it would be easy to handle. Do you think that the contents of the leather scroll would be simple? Do you think that he would let a person who knows the contents of the leather scroll leave so easily? Big brother Ning. Ewing shivered. Ning Cheng's words were simply too terrifying. Then she remembered that Senior Kang had looked at her with a fiery gaze. Initially she had thought that the other party had taken a fancy to her excellent qualifications, but now that she thought about it, it did not seem to be the case. The other party had asked her questions about how could her memory be so strong, and what kind of opportunity did she have. But he had never asked her how long she had cultivated, if she had any doubts, what kind of cultivation method she used, and so on. Ning Cheng did not continue to say anything. He had already mentioned it. Whether Ewing believed him or not was her problem. It had nothing to do with him. Yu Ying's face changed for a while, and then she bowed to Ning Cheng and said, Many thanks Big Brother Ning for dispelling my doubts. I was too naive. Ning Cheng nodded. And after hesitating for a while, he still spoke, Your spiritual root and talent are indeed very good, but at the beginning of the written examination on the stage, there were also people with similar qualifications, such as that Leng Yi-yang. There were even some who were even better than you. Why were you able to easily obtain so many points higher than the others? In fact, I am also very curious. Did you have any fortuitous encounters or something like that? Ewing was silent. Ning Cheng also asked her about this matter. Was it because Ning Cheng and that person surnamed Kang had the same disposition? Ning Cheng had mixed around in the city for many years, and had also mixed around in the Yixing mainland for a few days, so when Ewing was silent, he knew what Ewing was thinking. He simply closed his eyes, and no longer bothered to inquire about this matter. He himself was able to remember more than 600 changing pictures. Why would he care about the dozens of pictures that Ewing had remembered? His original intention was to know why Ewing was able to see a picture that was more essential than what he was seeing. Seeing that Ning Cheng no longer asked, Ewing finally opened her mouth and said, My grandfather said that I was born prematurely, because my father and my mother were rushing through the time marsh, when they encountered the Heart of Time. Heart of Time? Ning Cheng repeated the words. This was the first time he had heard of this name. Ewing gave an N sound and said, That's right, my mother wanted to grab the Heart of Time, but she did not expect that just as she approached the Heart of Time, she would be eroded by the flow of time, and her face would rapidly age, causing her to give birth to me prematurely. As for the Heart of Time, because of my mother's approach, it quickly disappeared into the depths of the swamp of time. My father hurriedly brought my mother out of the swamp of time and then brought my elder brother and my grandfather to the Ping continent. Ning Cheng came to know that the Ewing siblings were not people from the Ping continent. Since Yu Ying's father was able to bring the Ewing siblings to the Ping continent, it was obvious that he was not a simple person. Where is this swamp of time? Ning Cheng suddenly had a great interest in this Heart of Time. Ewing shook her head and said, I do not know. This is what my grandfather told me. After my father sent us to the Ping continent, he took my mother to look for spiritual grasses to treat her. My father said that he would come back soon, but after more than 10 years, my grandfather also passed away, and my parents have not come back. Last time Senior Kong also asked me if I had any opportunities, but I did not say anything, as my grandfather said that I cannot tell anyone about this matter. Big brother Ning, you saved my life. I think there is nothing to hide. My memory is much better than my elder brother. My grandfather once said that it might be because of the heart of time, but my grandfather did not know what the heart of time was. Ning Cheng was very suspicious that Yu Ying's powerful comprehension ability was related to the heart of time, but he did not know what the heart of time was. After listening to Yu Ying's words, he said, "What your grandfather said is right, this kind of thing should not be told to others." Yu Ying in her heart was somewhat disapproving. "You can't tell others, aren't you someone else? Didn't I tell you about it when you asked me?" Ning Cheng quickly recovered from his injuries. Yu Ying was after all a young girl, and was not much different from Ning Cheng's age, so after the two of them talked for a while, she had already completely removed all the restraints on her body. "Big brother Ning, did you say that you gave this pair of pearl hair clips to your younger sister?" As the two of them became more familiar with each other, Yu Ying increasingly did not regard Ning Cheng as an outsider, and even took out the pair of pearl hair clips that Ning Cheng had given her. Ning Cheng picked up the pearl hair clip in Yu Ying's hand, and looked at it for a long time before saying, "I had already given her one of these pearl hair clips, because I could not see my younger sister, so when I saw the same pearl hair clip that I had given to my younger sister, I wanted to buy it." "Big brother Ning, why did you only give her one? Who did you give the other one to? Is your younger sister Ruolan or Muwan?" Yu Ying had not spoken to anyone for a long time, but now that Ning Cheng started talking about it, it was simply endless. Ning Cheng frowned. He guessed that he had called out his younger sister's name while he was unconscious. Seeing Ning Cheng frown, Yu Ying quickly spoke up, "Big brother Ning, don't misunderstand, I heard you calling out those names while you were asleep. That elder sister Luo Fei should be the elder sister that I saw in the Moze Grand Plaza, right?" Ning Cheng sighed. "My younger sister is called Ning Ruolan, she is just like you, a very cute girl. There was also a pearl hair clip that I had given to that Mu Wan, but she threw it away in front of me." Saying that he gave a self-deprecating smile. That pearl hair clip was not thrown away by Tian Mu Wan. But for Ning Cheng, he would rather Tian Mu Wan throw it away herself, rather than letting others throw it away. Seeing Ning Cheng's somewhat self-deprecating expression, Yu Ying immediately understood what was going on, and quickly spoke up, "Big brother Ning, I think that elder sister Luo Fei is a very good person." She also understood why Ning Cheng was so good to her. It was because he missed his younger sister. After saying that, she felt that her words were a bit monotonous, and quickly returned the pearl hair clip that Ning Cheng had given to her to Ning Cheng and said, "Big brother Ning, why don't you give this pearl hair clip to elder sister Luo Fei?" Yu Ying did not know why that person called Mu Wan would throw away Big brother Ning's pearl hair clip, but she had seen Luo Fei before, and was very concerned about Ning Cheng. As such, she would definitely not throw away Ning Cheng's pearl hair clip. Ning Cheng smiled and spoke, "The past is the past, I just occasionally think about it. As for this pair of pearl hair clips, if you like it very much, then you can keep it for yourself. Initially, it was because I did not give my entire pair of pearl hair clips to my younger sister, which caused a few things to happen." Yu Ying really did not want to part with the pearl hair clip in her hands. After hesitating for a moment, she took one back and said, "Big brother Ning, I will also keep one, I will certainly not throw it away. Elder sister Luo Fei will also certainly not throw it away." Ning Cheng looked at the extremely ordinary pearl hair clip in his hands, nodded and put it away. "All right, then let's do it." When Yu Ying saw Ning Cheng put away the pearl hair clip, she was even more happy in her heart, as she also put away the pearl hair clip and asked, "Big brother Ning, I think that you are a very good person, why do Lu Shui and Yong Guyan not like you?" "You will understand it later." "That's right, you do not have to cultivate your original cultivation method, you can take a look inside your ring to see if there is a suitable cultivation method for you. If there is, then you can change to another cultivation method to cultivate." Ning Cheng did not explain that Yong Guyun did not like him, explaining this kind of thing was simply too boring. As for how Yong Gu Yun and the others looked at him, he simply did not care about it. Ewing thought back to the words that Ning Cheng had said before, that he wanted her to judge whether a matter was right or wrong, and even if she did not understand it, she still gave an "n" sound. Regarding the matter of the cultivation method, she had already looked inside her ring. Inside the ring there was a jade strip containing a non-attributed cultivation method. She did not know what grade it was, but she had originally intended to change to the non-attributed cultivation method. Seeing Ning Cheng begin to close his eyes to heal, Ewing quickly left the room. Now that Ning Cheng had returned, she was no longer afraid, and could start cultivating. Ning Cheng's consciousness was already immersed in the changes of the more than 600 pictures that he had memorized. He wanted to know why his understanding of the changes in the leather parchment was different from Yu Ying's. When Ning Cheng was completely immersed in the changes of these pictures, he unexpectedly once again saw a different picture. These pictures were definitely not the more than 600 pictures that he had seen before, but it was more than double. Although Ning Cheng's cultivation was limited, but his Zifu, because of the mysterious yellow bead, had become incomparably powerful. Even if there were so many changes, it still did not make him dizzy. Perhaps it was because of Yu Ying's reminder, but Ning Cheng really was able to see the source of the cultivation method in the original picture. These pictures gradually merged with the formless that he had felt when he had entered the mysterious yellow bead for the first time, causing Ning Cheng to unconsciously enter into a state of cultivation. After a moment, Ning Cheng opened his eyes, and raised his hands from the storage bag as he took out countless high-grade spirit stones, and once again began to cultivate. He clearly understood what formless meant. It could be said that this was a cultivation method that did not have a cultivation method to cultivate. This formless represented that there was no cultivation method, but as long as he started cultivating, at this moment, his consciousness would be able to produce the most correct way to circulate his true essence. Rather than saying that there was no cultivation method, it would be better to say that it was a cultivation method that was constantly changing. This cultivation method would change according to the time, the place, and the degree of spiritual qi. This was a cultivation method that could not be inherited, and could only be cultivated by him alone. The information in the leather scroll combined with the information that he had obtained from the mysterious yellow origin, allowing Ning Cheng to vaguely grasp the so-called cultivation methods of the heaven and earth. Just like when he had obtained the 5 treasures of good fortune from the mysterious yellow bead, he had learned that there were 5 cultivation methods in the chaotic universe that were not accepted by the heaven and earth. But he could only feel that his cultivation method was formed by the origin in his mind. This cultivation method did not have a fixed shape, and could change at any time and anywhere. It belonged to the primal chaos origin cultivation method, and could only be obtained by those who did not have a peerless opportunity. The more complete the origin was, the more powerful the cultivation method would be. This cultivation method was not accepted by the heaven and earth. If one did not have great wisdom and perseverance, if one did not cultivate their corporeal body, then they would definitely turn into ashes under the thunder tribulation. As for the other 4 cultivation methods that were not accepted by the heaven and earth, he only knew that they existed, but he was not able to understand what they were. Chapter 136. After changing her cultivation method, Ewing only used a few days to break through to the Qi-gathering 7th level. She was overjoyed in her heart, but after she stopped cultivating, she remembered that it had already been a few days, and Ning Cheng did not seem to have come out. Ewing hurried into the room. When she saw that the spiritual qi in the room had turned into a mist, she was almost shocked. At this time Ning Cheng had already come down from the bed, and was sitting in the middle of the room cultivating. The entire room was covered with spirit stones. She could only see that the spiritual qi had completely formed into a whirlpool shape, which was then absorbed by Ning Cheng. Ewing had also seen other people cultivate, and even when she herself cultivated she also absorbed spiritual qi, but she had never seen such a terrifying scene of absorbing spiritual qi. She knew that Ning Cheng was currently cultivating, and could not be disturbed. As such she quickly and carefully leaned against the door to cultivate. The spiritual energy here was so rich that it was many times better than cultivating by absorbing spirit stones. Ning Cheng's injuries had long since disappeared, as such he could only feel the rich spiritual qi continuously being absorbed by him, before transforming it into true essence. At this time, Ning Cheng only knew how much spiritual qi he could absorb. He had never felt so carefree while cultivating. This feeling was simply indescribable. The rich spiritual qi combined with the mysterious yellow origin aura caused Ning Cheng's cultivation to slowly rise. Compared to cultivating with a few spirit stones in the past, it was completely incomparable. Ying stood at the door and looked at him. Ning Cheng was also clear in his heart, but at this moment he completely ignored Ying's thoughts. After a month, Ning Cheng was already at true condensation 5th level. After 3 months, Ning Cheng was already at true condensation 6th level. Half a year later, Ning Cheng was already at the peak of true condensation 7th level, but at this time, the spirit stones that were around Ning Cheng were almost completely consumed. As Ying cultivated under the rich spiritual mist that Ning Cheng had stimulated, her cultivation speed was much faster compared to when she had absorbed the high-grade spirit stones. Moreover, in the midst of this rich spiritual mist, there was also a trace of the mysterious yellow aura, which allowed Ying to advance by leaps and bounds, and her progress was not the least bit slower than Ning Cheng's. Ying advanced to the qi gathering 8th level. When she got up to eat, Ning Cheng was cultivating. When she finished eating, she continued to cultivate, and advanced to the qi gathering 9th level, while Ning Cheng was still cultivating. The only difference was that Ning Cheng would occasionally subconsciously eat a few pieces of dry food. Fortunately, she still knew that Ning Cheng was cultivating, otherwise, she might have gone crazy. The only thing she could do was to get up, eat something, and continue cultivating. On this day, Ying felt all of the meridians in her body erupt with crackling sounds, while at the same time, all of the true qi in her body began to transforming into an even more formidable true essence. Ying understood that she was about to advance to the true condensation realm. Ying did not have a true condensation pill, as such she did not know that advancing to the true condensation realm required a true condensation pill, but without a true condensation pill, one would be able to advance to the true condensation realm. So when she felt that she needed to advance to the true condensation realm, she quickly settled her heart, and concentrated all of her concentration on transforming her qi. When Ning Cheng broke through to the true condensation 8th level, Ying, with the help of the rich spiritual qi and a trace of the mysterious yellow aura, was able to break through the shackles of the true condensation 8th level. As her true essence surged out, she could not help but give out a crisp and clear cry. Ning Cheng opened his eyes and stood up. He could feel that his true essence was several times stronger than before, causing him to feel both surprised and distressed in his heart. He was pleasantly surprised that he unexpectedly advanced to the true condensation 8th level, moreover his strength was so formidable. His heart ached because he had dug out so many spirit stones, but all of them were used up by him. But with so many spirit stones, he had only advanced to the true condensation 8th level. With his cultivation speed, just how many spirit stones would he need to advance to the profound core realm? Ah, Big Brother Ning, I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself, it definitely affected your cultivation. Ying, on seeing Ning Cheng wake up, spoke in a somewhat flustered manner. Ning Cheng was in a good mood, and was just about to crack a joke, when he said in amazement, Ying, you unexpectedly advanced to the true condensation realm? Where did you get the true condensation pill from? Ying blankly said, I do not have a true condensation pill. After I reached the qi gathering 9th level, I naturally broke through the qi gathering realm, and advanced to the true condensation realm. Well, I remember now, it should be because of Big Brother Ning. I cultivated in this room. Not only was my cultivation speed a bit faster, but the spiritual mist was also a lot better than cultivating with spirit stones. Ning Cheng was secretly surprised in his heart. This was a real genius. Just because of his spiritual mist, she casually advanced to the true condensation realm, and did not even need a single true condensation pill. When he had advanced to the true condensation realm, he and Tai Shu Shi, in order to obtain a single true condensation pill, it was simply like fighting for their lives. This kind of person really could not be compared. How long have I been in seclusion? Ning Cheng suddenly thought of this matter. If 3 months had already passed, then it would be equivalent to him succeeding. After that, he would have to find a way to leave the Angry Axe Valley, and then find a way to return to the Hua continent. I estimate that it has been 7 or 8 months. Although Yuing was also in seclusion, but she was not like Ning Cheng, she almost every once in a while would come up to see Ning Cheng. Sure enough. Ning Cheng muttered to himself. Saying that, Ning Cheng looked at Yuing and asked, Yuing, what are your plans? I do not know where to go. If that Senior Kong really has his eyes on me, then even if I return to the Hua continent, I would not be able to escape from his hands. I am just worried about my big brother. Yuing said in a somewhat dazed manner, if that person surnamed Kong really had his eyes on her, then she really would not have a place to go. Ning Cheng said with certainty, that person surnamed Kong will definitely not go to the Hua continent. 3 months have already passed, and the two of us have not come out of the Angry Axe Valley. That person surnamed Kong would definitely think that something happened to us in the Angry Axe Valley. So as long as we can get out of the Angry Axe Valley, and then secretly leave the Jia continent, then there should not be any problems. Big brother Ning, do you want to go back to the Hua continent? Yuing immediately asked. Ning Cheng shook his head, not to mention that I do not have the ability to cross the Lost Mountain Range. Even if I could cross the Lost Mountain Range, at this time returning to the Hua continent would not be a good thing. What's more, even if we can get out of the Angry Axe Valley, it is not certain that Yuing completely did not pay attention to it. Ning Cheng hesitated for a moment and said, I am not sure that after we get out of this place, we would not immediately be transferred out. Unfortunately, I do not have any spirit stones. If I had spirit stones, then maybe I could cultivate here until the essence building realm, and then go out. Ning Cheng was really regretful. If he had more spirit stones, then he would definitely continue to cultivate. Once he reached the Great Circle of True Condensation 9th level, then he would use the best quality spirit stones to attack the essence building realm. Anyway, he still had 7 best quality spirit stones. If one was not enough, then he would use 2. Big brother Ning, I have some spirit stones here. Yuing quickly took out her ring and handed it to Ning Cheng. Big brother Ning, I do not have a place to go now, I can only follow behind you. Wait until your cultivation is high enough, then I would also be a bit safer. I have also used a lot of your spiritual mist for my cultivation. These spirit stones would be the best for you to use for your cultivation. Yuing saw Ning Cheng hesitating, and quickly added a sentence. Ning Cheng nodded, and took the storage ring from Yuing and said, all right, I will first use your spirit stones. If after we get out, and are not transferred out, then I have a way to return your spirit stones. Ning Cheng was not bragging. He knew about the spirit stone mine. There were definitely a lot of spirit stones there. Now that all the people had been transferred out, he could slowly dig out the spirit stones. He would definitely be able to get as many as he wanted. I do not want so many spirit stones. When Yuing heard that Ning Cheng wanted to return the spirit stones to her, she quickly waved her hand. Ning Cheng also did not explain, and took out all the spirit stones from Yu Ying's ring. Yu Ying's ring also had about 10,000 to 20,000 high-grade spirit stones. After Ning Cheng took them all out, he once again filled the entire room. This time, Ning Cheng arranged a small spiritual gathering array formation, and then continued to attack the true condensation 9th level. When Yuing saw Ning Cheng begin to cultivate, she also stabilized her own cultivation. Ning Cheng once again immersed himself in absorbing the spiritual qi. The spiritual qi in the room was quickly crazily absorbed by him, turning into a spiritual mist. Kacha, once again a few blocked acupuncture points were blasted open. Ning Cheng entered the true condensation 9th level without any hindrance. In the wide and thick meridians, more and more true essence was gathering, bringing with it a gurgling sound. Ning Cheng was still crazily absorbing the spiritual qi. He was now completely unable to take into account the situation around him. He did not know how long it took, but his true essence had even turned into true liquid, although it was still called true essence, but his true essence had already begun to transform. The formidable true essence and spiritual sense were constantly scouring Ning Cheng's meridians and Zifu. Ning Cheng knew that he was about to break through to the essence building realm. He did not hesitate to take out 2 best quality spirit stones, holding one in each hand. The spiritual chi was soft and pure to the extreme, almost making Ning Qing moan in comfort. This kind of spiritual chi was simply too addictive. It was simply not something that ordinary spirit stones could compare to. The huge amount of pure spiritual chi from the best quality spirit stones poured into Ning Cheng's meridians and dantian, turning into an even purer spiritual chi aura, once again scouring Ning Cheng's body. The impurities in his body and meridians were constantly being discharged. The recently strengthened true essence was flowing even more smoothly. Ning Cheng's meridians, which had been transformed by the mysterious yellow origin, were already wide and thick. After going through this impact, his meridians once again expanded and strengthened. Ning Qing could vaguely feel a barrier. He felt that as long as he could break through this barrier, he would be able to see a whole new world, and advance to a whole new level. Ning Qing was crazily absorbing the spiritual chi from the best quality spirit stones to attack this barrier. He was eager to know what the world would be like after advancing. He was also eager to have a stronger strength. Best quality spirit stones in the true cultivation world were extremely rare. There were simply not many of them. Very few people would use best quality spirit stones to attack the essence building realm. Moreover, he had used 2 of them. But for Ning Cheng, even after he crazily absorbed the 2 best quality spirit stones, the barrier in his body did not break through. The spiritual chi required to break through this barrier was far beyond his imagination. When the 2 best quality spirit stones turned into flying ash, Ning Cheng did not hesitate at all, and once again took out 2 best quality spirit stones. If he gave up now, then not only would he have wasted 2 best quality spirit stones, but his cultivation would also not be able to break through in a short period of time. The pure and rich spiritual chi from the 2 best quality spirit stones once again rushed into Ning Cheng's meridians. Under the operation of Ning Cheng's cultivation method, it once again exploded against the barrier that shackled Ning Cheng's cultivation. Chapter 137. With a bang, Ning Cheng's entire body relaxed in an instant, and the liquefied true essence also found a place to drain. The meridians and acupoints in his body gave off a series of crisp sounds, and with each sound, he felt his body become lighter. An unprecedented feeling of joy and an indescribable feeling of enlightenment welled up in his heart. Ning Cheng really could not bear it any longer, and just like Yu Ying, he gave out a long and continuous roar. This kind of strength made Ning Cheng feel an indescribable joy. At this time, his body was oozing out countless dregs, but he did not care about it. Ning Cheng knew that he had finally succeeded in breaking through to the essence-building realm. Using 4 best quality spirit stones, he finally succeeded in building his essence-building realm. The real watershed for a cultivator was to successfully enter the essence-building realm. It was only at this time that he finally had the qualifications to call himself a cultivator. It was only now that he had truly forged his own foundation. This kind of joy had not yet ended, when Ning Cheng once again felt his already vaguely formed sea of consciousness give out a kacha sound, as if an eggshell had cracked open. Ning Cheng was so excited that his eyes turned red. He knew that this was the process of forming a sea of consciousness after successfully building the essence-building realm. Finally, he no longer needed to use his spiritual will to fight against other people's spiritual will. Now that he had a sea of consciousness, he could also stretch out his spiritual will in the future. Ning Cheng had heard that when one's spiritual consciousness was cultivated to an extremely high level, one could even use their spiritual consciousness to attack. Forcibly stabilizing his mind, Ning Cheng on one side consolidated his essence-building cultivation, on the other side sorted out his powerful true essence, while at the same time perfecting his sea of consciousness. At the same time, he was also cleaning his meridians and the impurities in his body. This was a kind of marrow washing process. As long as one reached the essence-building realm, they would have to go through this process. Marrow cleansing could allow a cultivator to become more powerful, and their fleshly body would become more flexible. Ying stared blankly at Ning Cheng as he succeeded in building the essence-building realm. She was not able to feel Ning Cheng's strength, but she had a vague feeling. Ning Cheng had just advanced to the essence-building realm, but compared to some of the veteran essence-building cultivators from the Falling Star Academy, he was a lot more powerful. After a few more days, Ning Qing finally opened his eyes. Leaping up, the joy in his eyes betrayed his inner thoughts. Big Brother Ning, congratulations on your success in advancing to the essence-building realm. Yuing also happily said. Yuing, thank you, without your 10,000 to 20,000 high-grade spirit stones, I definitely would not have been able to successfully enter the essence-building realm. You've done me a great favor. Ning Qing was really grateful to Yuing. He had just comprehended the cultivation method, moreover his cultivation path was also very smooth. At this time he was able to advance to the essence-building realm in a single go. If he waited for a period of time, he would not necessarily be able to advance as smoothly as he was now. Of course, it was better to increase one's cultivation as early as possible, not to mention at such an appropriate time. It was not until he advanced to the essence-building realm that Ning Qing really understood that he was seriously injured by that intermediate-stage essence-building cultivator. It was not unjust at all. He had thought that because he had comprehended two types of axe intense, then he would be able to resist against an essence-building cultivator. It was not that his axe intent was not good, but the disparity between his spiritual consciousness and true essence was just too big. For him to be able to escape from the hands of an essence-building cultivator was already very lucky. With his current cultivation level, if he went to fight with that intermediate-stage essence-building cultivator, then he would not have to expend much effort, and would be able to kill the opposite party. The more he cultivated his cultivation method, the stronger he would become. However, the more he cultivated, the more resources he needed. Ning Qing did not care about it at all. What he wanted was to become even more powerful. This mysterious yellow formless cultivation method was simply too heaven-defying. Ning Qing was sure that even if it was a cultivator with a powerful qualification, as long as he had sufficient cultivation resources, his cultivation speed would not be any slower than the other party. He had only used less than 3 months, and was able to advance from the true condensation 8th level to the essence-building realm. This was already very telling. Big Brother Ning, you saved me. If you thank me again, then I would be very embarrassed. But Big Brother Ning, the smell on your body is very unpleasant. Yuing and Ning Qing were already familiar with each other, as such she did not have any scruples in speaking. I'll clean myself up, and then we can go out. Ning Qing said with a smile. After Yuing went out, Ning Qing used a few dust removal techniques on himself, and then used a few fresh water techniques on himself, changed into a set of clean clothes, and then came out. But Yuing was already anxiously waiting for him at the arched door. It could be seen that Yuing really wanted to leave this place. Ning Qing looked at Yuing, who had been wanting to go out for a long time, and suddenly said, "Do you want me to carry you?" Yuing quickly shook her head and said, No, I can go up by myself. Did you forget, last time I was the one who carried you back? You really don't want? If you don't want to, then let's go out now. Ning Qing deliberately spoke another sentence. Yuing hesitated this time. She and Ning Qing had been together for a long time, although most of the time was spent in cultivation, but she was already familiar with what kind of person Ning Qing was. Ning Qing was not the kind of person that Yong Guyun had described him to be, although she was still puzzled as to why Ning Qing would do that kind of thing with Su Zhu. Ning Qing said that he wanted to carry her on his back. Perhaps there was a reason for it. That. Yuing hesitated for a moment, and then said, Then Big Brother Ning, you can carry me on your back. Saying that she took the initiative to lie on Ning Cheng's back, she knew that Ning Cheng was not the kind of person that Yong Guyun had described him to be. As such she believed that Ning Cheng would not do anything to her. This time Ning Cheng did not use a belt to secure Yuing, he just carried Yuing on his back as he opened the array formation, and then entered the river. When Ning Cheng entered the river, Yuing finally understood why Ning Cheng wanted to carry her on his back. At this time Ning Cheng's surroundings had already formed a circular water shield. The surrounding water simply could not invade. Thank you, Big Brother Ning. Yuing felt relieved in her heart, and immediately felt that Ning Cheng was carrying her on his back. When the two of them left the immortal cave, they did not mention anything about taking away the priceless water avoidance bead. Once the water avoidance bead was taken away, the water avoidance array formation would not be able to block the flow of the river, and then the immortal cave would turn into nothingness. Ning Cheng was a grateful person, so he did not even think about it. Yuing actually thought about it, but since Ning Cheng did not mention it, she also did not mention it. Big brother Ning, can I ask you a question? Yuing, who was on Ning Cheng's back, suddenly asked. Ning Cheng absent-mindedly said, you can ask, as long as I feel that I can answer the question, I will not hide it. Big brother Ning, that day when I was with senior apprentice sister Yong Guyun and senior apprentice sister Lu Shui in the Clear Heart Academy, I saw you and senior apprentice sister Su Zhu together. Do you really like senior apprentice sister Su Zhu? Yuing felt that if she asked this question, then there should not be anything wrong with it. Ning Cheng showed a faint smile. If you want to ask me if I slept with senior apprentice sister Su Zhu, then you can just directly ask. There is no need to beat around the bush. Hearing Ning Cheng's straightforward words, Yu Ying's face immediately turned hot. Her heart actually had such intentions. But how could she casually ask other people about this kind of thing? Big brother Ning was simply too direct. She also spoke in a low voice with a blushing face. I wanted to say that senior apprentice sister Luo Fei is really good. I also like her very much. As for that senior apprentice sister Su Zhu, everyone had their own ideas. As such, Ning Cheng was too lazy to explain these things to Yuing. He suddenly asked, Yuing, did we live in the same room for nearly a year? That's right. Yuing replied, but she was still calculating. They had indeed lived together for nearly a year. That's good. Ning Cheng once again said, did you strip off my clothes? Did we also sleep together? Ah. Yu Ying's face turned red. Big brother Ning, what are you talking about? When did I strip off your clothes? When did I sleep with you? After saying that, Yuing felt that something was wrong. She seemed to have stripped off all of Ning Cheng's clothes. Other than his shorts, the rest of his clothes were stripped off by her, but she did it in order to save Ning Cheng. She couldn't have put Ning Cheng wet on the bed, right? Ning Cheng said in a self-deprecating manner, Yuing, you stripped off my clothes. We lived in the same room for nearly a year, but you also know that we did not sleep together. Why did you see me walking together with Su Zhu, and think that I slept together with her? Is it because others told you? I understand, big brother Ning, you did not do that with Su Zhu. Yuing suddenly spoke. She replaced the two words, sleep, with, that. After saying that, her face turned even more red. She said it in such a way that it seemed even more ambiguous. But Yuing quickly changed the topic. Big brother Ning, since you did not do it, why didn't you explain it? Ning Cheng said in a light voice, who is Yong Guyun and Lu Shui to me? Why should I explain it to them? Whether they believe it or not, I simply do not care about it. For the people I want to explain it to, I will not explain it to them. The people who believe in me do not need me to explain it, they will also believe it. The people who do not believe in me, no matter what I say, they will not believe it. I'm sorry. Yuing quickly thought that Ning Cheng was not willing to explain it to the people including her. At this time she finally understood the words that Ning Cheng had spoken to her before. Sometimes it is better to maintain your own view of people and things. If someone changes your view, you can go and determine it yourself. As Yuing and Ning Cheng spoke, the awkwardness of lying on Ning Cheng's back disappeared by a lot. Now that Ning Cheng said it clearly, and no longer tried to explain it, she once again felt that she had misunderstood Ning Cheng, and was somewhat sorry to Ning Cheng. She subconsciously tightened her grip on Ning Cheng, and even tightened her legs. Although Ning Cheng was carrying Yuing on his back, but the fact was that he really did not care about this green apple. Now that Yuing subconsciously tightened her grip on him, and even tightened her legs, it made Ning Cheng's heart warm up. He quickly sped up. He knew that Yuing was not doing it intentionally, but this kind of unconscious action was the most unbearable. When Yuing exerted her strength, she felt that Ning Cheng's back seemed to be a bit hot. Yuing was not someone who did not understand anything. She immediately knew that her actions a moment ago were somewhat inappropriate. She was just about to loosen up a bit, when her eyes lit up. Ning Cheng had already rushed out of the river with her on his back, and landed on the shore. We were not sent out. Ewing cried out in surprise. She was also worried that they would be sent out. In case they were sent out, that old man surnamed Kong was waiting for her outside. It would not be a good thing. Chapter 138. Haha, I should be rich. Ning Qing laughed, as he turned to Ewing and said, Ewing, I'll take you to mine. Ewing did not respond, and blankly repeated the words, mining? That's right, it's mining. Ning Qing finished, and took a step forward. When Ewing saw this, she quickly followed behind Ning Qing. She was now at the early stages of the true condensation realm, and her cultivation was dozens of times more powerful than before, as such her speed had also increased. After more than 2 hours, Ning Qing blankly stared at the messy mine in front of him, and only spoke after a long time, how is this possible? When he left this mine, he had only dug out a small part of it. Even if there were tens of thousands of people digging here until the Angry Axe Valley closed, wouldn't they still not be able to dig out everything? However, the current situation was that there was nothing left in the mine. Not to mention the mine, even a complete weed had been dug up by someone else. Hey, big brother Ning, you see, there seems to be people inside. Ewing was shocked as she pointed to a distant place. At the same time, Ning Qing also saw the figures in front of him. They were 2 true condensation cultivators, and seemed to be looking for something. What's going on? Did we evade the transmission in the Angry Axe Valley, or was it that after the accident occurred in the Angry Axe Valley, the transmission simply did not start? Ning Qing was also completely unable to understand. Ning Qing quickly arrived in front of the 2 cultivators. The 2 cultivators, on seeing Ning Qing and Ewing come over, immediately stared at the 2 of them vigilantly. Ning Qing cupped his fists and said, 2 friends, I and my junior apprentice sister have been trapped in this place for more than half a year, and have missed the time to transfer out of the Angry Axe Valley. How come the 2 friends have not been transferred out? When the 2 true condensation cultivators saw that Ning Qing was asking about this matter, they slightly relaxed their guard, and one of them said in a distressed voice, Don't say it, not to mention that you were not sent out. All the people who entered the Angry Axe Valley are not able to come out. After the accident in the Angry Axe Valley, even after 3 months, not a single person was sent out. Ning Qing and Ewing were silent. Since none of the people who entered the Angry Axe Valley were transmitted out, then it meant that the people who thought that they had perished were just empty wishes. This was not a very good news, which made Ning Qing somewhat disappointed, as he and Ewing walked all the way. Not to mention spiritual grasses, even monstrous beasts were rarely seen. This place is somewhat unworthy of its name. Ewing said in a somewhat depressed tone. No. It is because there are simply too many people entering the Angry Axe Valley this time. Even the Jia continent's entrance was filled with tens of thousands of people. Perhaps the other entrances would have even more people. With so many people entering the Angry Axe Valley, after going through a year of searching, even the best things would have been lost. Ning Qing spoke with a sigh. He had been in seclusion all this time. Although he also obtained a lot of good things, compared to others, what he obtained was certainly not much. Big brother Ning, how about we go to the depths of the Angry Axe Valley? I heard that the Angry Axe Valley is boundless. Even if hundreds of thousands of people come in, there would still be places that no one can go. Ewing quickly said. All right. Ning Qing originally thought that there were a lot of things in the Angry Axe Valley. It was simply impossible for him to get all of them so easily. His original idea was to find a lot of spiritual grasses and other cultivation resources in the Angry Axe Valley, and then return to the underwater immortal cave to study alchemy. In order for him to advance from the true condensation realm to the essence building realm, he had spent a lot of energy, wasted a lot of spirit stones, and even used 4 best quality spirit stones. In the future, he would definitely need a lot more resources. How could he not learn alchemy? Although he did not go back to find Ji Luofei on time, but Ning Qing believed that Ji Luofei would definitely be waiting for him in the God Wind Academy. After being together with Ji Luofei for such a long time, he understood Ji Luofei very well. Since he had asked Ji Luofei to wait for him in the God Wind Academy, then Ji Luofei would definitely be waiting for him in the God Wind Academy. Unless the God Wind Academy no longer existed, in the Hua continent, the God Wind Academy was a 5-star academy. How could it not exist for no reason? In the depths of the Angry Axe Valley, there was a mountain range that stretched for hundreds of miles, with tens of thousands of cultivators squeezed in front of it. To be exact, this mountain range that stretched for hundreds of miles was composed of countless low hills. These countless low hills were continuous, and were verdant and green. The smell of spiritual grasses assaulted their nostrils, and in the distance, they could even see some of the extremely high-ranked spiritual grasses. What made people feel strange was that, in the face of so many high-ranked spiritual grasses, the cultivators here unexpectedly did not rush forward. If one looked carefully, some of these hills had already been dug out beyond recognition, but some of them were still safe and sound. Many of the cultivators were in groups, and were scattered in front of some of the hills that had not been dug out, while each and every one of them was exuding a formidable imposing manner. These imposing auras united together, as if they were fighting against the hills on the opposite side. Finally, a cheer arrived, as the cultivators in front of one of the hills seemed to have gained the upper hand in this confrontation, as the invisible layer in front of the hill dispersed, and all the people swarmed towards it. If the people who had just arrived were to see this scene, then they would be able to completely understand why the hills here, although some of them had been dug out beyond recognition, but some of them were still safe and sound. Senior Apprentice Sister Jing Xiu, I found a good thing. An extremely ugly-looking young girl called out with joy. A young male cultivator beside her quickly covered the mouth of this young girl, as he reached out and grabbed the thing in her hands and put it into his own storage bag, and then spoke in a stern voice, Dan Qin, don't talk too much, just find the thing and put it away. This extremely ugly-looking young girl did not have the time to answer, when she heard a low voice from the side, I saw it first, take it out. The young male cultivator pulled the ugly-looking young girl behind him, and tried to slow down his voice as much as possible, friend, the things here are ownerless, just a moment ago my junior apprentice sister took it first, aren't your words a bit too much? Less nonsense, are you going to hand it over or not? The male cultivator gave a low shout, as he spoke with some impatience. What if you don't hand it over? A beautiful female cultivator with a dark complexion came over, and spoke with a sarcastic tone. The male cultivator grinned, if you don't hand it over, then die. While speaking, he brought out a giant green claw. As soon as this giant claw came out, it immediately swept up a powerful imposing manner, which directly enveloped the 3 people in front of him. Under the killing intent and imposing manner of this giant claw, even breathing would be difficult. These 3 people were undoubtedly Zhang Shua, Meng Jingxiu and Ruemu Danqin, who were separated from Ning Cheng. If Ning Cheng had not gone into seclusion at the bottom of the river for nearly a year, then after such a long time, they might have already met each other. But Ning Cheng had gone into seclusion at the bottom of the river for nearly a year, and even after the 3 of them met each other, they still could not find Ning Cheng. When Meng Jingxiu saw that the other party was the first to attack, how could she endure it, as she also brought out her halberd, and immediately used her raging river tide. She was only at true condensation 6th level, while the other party was already at true condensation 9th level. Although she was conceited, but she did not dare to look down on a true condensation 9th level cultivator. The halberd's shadow formed into a raging river filled with killing intent, and blotted out the sky as it swept towards the giant claw. This true condensation 9th level cultivator, who wanted to eat Meng Jingxiu and the other 2 people, under this wave-like halberd shadow, immediately felt a chill run down his spine. He had never thought that a true condensation 6th level cultivator would have such a powerful halberd technique. Boom! Ka. The true condensation 9th level cultivator's green claw and the halberd's shadow collided, causing the true essence in the sky to explode. Several halberd shadows rushed out of the blockade of the giant claw, and bombarded the chest of the true condensation 9th level cultivator. Although the power of the halberd's shadow was greatly reduced because of the giant claw, but it was still able to tear apart the robes of the true condensation 9th level cultivator, causing a few bloodstains to appear. These bloodstains were not serious injuries, but this true condensation 9th level cultivator was clearly at a disadvantage under this move. Meng Jingxiu's heart sank, she had thought that this move would be able to severely injure the other party, but she did not expect that it would only cause a few bloodstains. If they really fought, then her situation would not be optimistic. Haha. 2 people against senior apprentice brother Chu. Since that is the case, then do not blame this Shang Mao Gao for being impolite. As his voice fell, a man wearing a brown robe landed in front of Meng Jingxiu. Do you have any shame? I was just standing here a moment ago and did not even move. When did the 2 of you fight against one? Zhang Shua angrily cursed. This brown-robed cultivator called Shang Mao Gao simply ignored Zhang Shua's words, as he directly brought out a flying sword and shot it towards Meng Jingxiu, while simultaneously speaking to the other true condensation 9th level cultivator who was forced back by Meng Jingxiu. Senior apprentice brother Chu, you go and teach this nonsense a lesson, leave this black pot woman to me. Meng Jingxiu originally wanted to retort with a few sarcastic words, but when she heard the rude words of this brown-robed cultivator, she immediately trembled with anger, as she once again shot out the halberd in her hands. The majestic halberd shadows were even more powerful than before, but these halberd shadows were easily blocked by the opposite party's sword light. Meng Jingxiu's heart sank. She knew that this Shang Mao Gao was much more powerful than Fang Xian, who had easily defeated her in the Moze Grand Plaza. Moreover, he was not just a little bit stronger. The sword light that he shot out was very strange. It seemed as if it could bind her true essence and spiritual sense. But this was not the tournament stage. As such, she had no way to admit defeat. Even if she was going to be killed, she could only go up and fight. The continuous halberd shadows were easily broken by Shang Mao Gao, but the opposite party's sword light did not even have the slightest bit of resistance as it passed through the halberd shadows. Meng Jingxiu was shocked in her heart, as she forcibly took back her halberd and turned it into a halberd shield, as she tried to block the sword light that had penetrated through. Puff puff. 2 blood splattered out, as her waist and arms were still swept by the sword light. The sword light on her arm was only a few centimeters away from completely cutting off her arm. Even if that was the case, if she did not quickly treat it, then her arm would still be crippled. Seeing Meng Jingxiu seriously injured, Zhang Shua, who was not the opposite party's opponent, was immediately sent flying by a claw attack on his chest. At this time there were several bloody holes in his chest. As such, the injuries he received were not lighter than Meng Jingxiu. Ruemu Danqin was very anxious, as she quickly cried and said, "Don't kill senior apprentice brother Tsang and senior apprentice sister Jingxiu, we will give you that thing," saying that she did not wait for Zhang Shua to speak, as she directly took down Zhang Shua's storage bag, and threw it to the opposite party. Ruemu Danqin had heard about this from the other people. Generally, after throwing away their storage bag, if they did not have a deep hatred towards the other party, then they would not be able to kill anyone. This true condensation 9th level cultivator called senior apprentice brother Chu sneered and said, "I told you to take it out, but you did not take it, now it's too late." While speaking, he once again brought out the giant claw in his hands. Chapter 139. Senior apprentice brother Shao Qing will be here soon. You killed senior apprentice brother Zhang. Senior apprentice brother Shao Qing will not let you off. In Ruemu Danqin's heart, Ning Xiaocheng was the most powerful. She had personally seen Ning Xiaocheng clinch the first place in the 3rd round of the Great Meet. If he was not powerful, then how could he achieve this? Since Deacon Lu had entrusted the 3 of them to senior apprentice brother Xiaocheng, it showed that senior apprentice brother Xiaocheng had the ability to do so. Now that Zhang Shua and Meng Jingxiu's lives were in danger, Ruemu Danqin no longer cared about her own words and whether she would be laughed at or ridiculed by others. Ha! This senior apprentice brother Chu laughed. This father is the Lu Continent's Red Heaven 7-Star Academy's Chu Tongfu, and the one beside me is the Red Heaven Academy's Shang Mao Gao. When you go to the Yin land, remember to call your senior apprentice brother Xiaoqing to come and find your grandpa Chu. Kill your senior brother Zhang? No, Grandpa is going to destroy all of you together. In the distance, Qi Ziwen, Meng Yujing, Sita Yu, Ling Naixin, and Yong Guyun were all present, but none of them stood up and said a word. Perhaps they knew that if they dared to speak up, they would be implicated as well. Meng Jingxiu desperately glanced at the few people who had come from the Hua continent. She knew that it was impossible for her to count on them. The fickleness of human nature could be seen from this. At that moment, another loud noise rang out from afar. Clearly, another mound had been breached and countless cultivators swarmed forward. This senior apprentice brother Chu no longer cared about killing Tsang Shua and the other two, and followed behind the brown-robed cultivator called Shang Mao Gao, like a bolt of lightning. If you dare to run, then this father will turn around and burn your soul. Before leaving, this true condensation 9th level cultivator surnamed Chu did not forget to leave behind a few words. He did not even have enough time to take away Meng Jingxiu's storage bag, not to mention killing those 3 people. There were so many cultivators here. Once the hill was breached, it would immediately cause a commotion. He could kill Meng Jingxiu and the other 2 at any time, as long as he could grab the spiritual grasses, then it would not be too late to kill them. Meng Jingxiu was just a few low-leveled cultivators, as such she would definitely not have any good things on her body, as such it was more important to grab the spiritual grasses first. I am sorry, senior apprentice brother Tsang, senior apprentice sister Jingxiu, I am not sensible enough to implicate you. Ruemu Danqin had never seen this kind of situation before, at this time she was completely out of her wits. Tsang Shua sighed and said, "It's not your fault, it's our experience. Just look at the people from the Falling Star Academy and the other academies, they are just picking up some spiritual grasses from the back, and simply do not come forward to snatch from the people from the intermediate class continents or the advanced class continents. We don't have a backstage. We should have stayed behind." In addition, Danqin obtained an essence-raising fruit. It would be strange if people didn't covet it. Meng Jingxiu was silent, her face was pale, she was seriously injured. At the same time, she also understood what Tsang Shua meant. The 3 of them did not have any experience. Usually, in this kind of situation, it was better to quickly give the fruit to the person who asked for it. Only then could they calm down. Of course, with her temper, she wouldn't give her things away like this. As a result, a fight was inevitable. Not only did she fight with him, she even injured him. If only senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng was here. Ruemu Danqin knew that the fate of the 3 of them was already doomed. As soon as the other party finished snatching the spiritual grasses, the next moment they would come to deal with the 3 of them. Tsang Shua shook his head and said, "Senior apprentice brother Ning is here to harm him, you did not hear him say that he is from the 7-Star Academy. They definitely have an essence-building master. Even if senior apprentice brother Ning is more powerful, he would not be able to fight against an essence-building master." The 3 of them knew that there was no way out, even if they didn't heal their injuries, they remained silent. This kind of thing was very common in this place, so no one came forward to express sympathy for the 3 of them, or even help them. "There are a few healing pills here, you quickly swallow them, and then immediately leave. I can't help you." At this time, Sitayu quickly walked over, and threw a bottle to Ruemu Danqin. After saying a few words, he turned around and walked away. Ruemu Danqin took the bottle and was somewhat stunned, but she quickly reacted, and quickly opened the bottle, and took out 2 pills and put them in Tsang Shua and Meng Jingxiu's mouth. "Do we have to go?" Ruemu Danqin remembered the words of Sitayu a moment ago, and quickly asked. "I did not expect that Sitayu would actually take out pills." Tsang Shua looked at the departing Sitayu and sighed. He then shook his head at Yuing and said, "There is no need to go, you see that the spiritual grasses have already been snatched. I estimate that the person surnamed Chu will soon come over. We are seriously injured, where can we go?" Ning Cheng and Yuing did not walk for long. On the 3rd day, the 2 of them once again saw cultivators. But this time the 2 of them did not see 1 or 2 cultivators, rather there were more than tens of thousands of them. When Ningqing saw this dense mass of people, he even thought that all the cultivators who had entered the Angry Axe Valley had gathered here. Ningqing casually swept out with his spiritual consciousness, and immediately saw a few acquaintances. Che Ziwen, Meng Yujing, Sitayu, Ling Naixin and Yong Guyun were all there, but Fang Xian and Pu Lisan were not there. Then Ningqing saw Tsang Shua, Ruemu Danqin and Meng Jingxiu, but Ningqing immediately became furious. Tsang Shua and Meng Jingxiu were seriously injured, only Ruemu Danchin was standing on the side looking after them with red eyes. Meng Jingxiu was covered in blood, her face was incomparably pale, even her arm was almost completely cut off, only a little bit of flesh and skin was holding it together. If she did not receive treatment, then her arm would be equivalent to being crippled. Zhang Shua was extremely dispirited, and was also covered in blood, there were even a few bloody holes on his chest. But the disciples of the other academies in the Hua continent were safe and sound, even Yong Guyun, who was only in the Qi-gathering realm, was not injured at all. But Yong Guyun was not with the Falling Star Academies Che Ziwen and Meng Yujing, rather she was with another group of people. Ning Qing did not have the mind to care about this, he quickly arrived in front of the Zhang Shua trio and asked, "What happened?" "Senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng." Ruemu Danchin saw Ning Qing come over, and called out to him, and immediately began to cry. When Zhang Shua and Meng Jingxiu saw Ning Qing, there was a trace of guilt in their eyes, it was obvious that Ning Qing had arrived, and was also involved in this matter. Ning Qing quickly said, "Let's talk about it later, let's first heal up." Saying that, Ning Qing took out 2 mysterious frost zoishes and said, "These are mysterious frost zoishes, one for each of you." "Wait." A bearded man stepped in front of Ning Qing and the others, looking at his appearance, he almost reached out to snatch the mysterious frost zoishes from Ning Qing's hands. Ning Qing was incomparably fast, with a wave of his hand, he immediately put away the mysterious frost zoishes, and then coldly stared at the opposite party and said, "What's the matter?" This bearded man already had the cultivation of late-stage essence-building realm, although Ning Qing was not afraid of him, but he still had to be careful. "I am Dong Guoxiao, a Tier 4 True Pill Master from the Feng Continent's 7 Rainbow Pills sect. I have the True Internal Organs Pill in my hands, which can heal injuries. Although the True Internal Organs Pill is only a level 3 pill, but I'm sure that for the injuries of your 2 friends, the effect would be much better than your mysterious frost zoishes. I will now give you 2, as long as you give me the mysterious frost zoishes in your hands." Although this bearded man's cultivation was a lot higher than Ning Qing's, but he did not try to snatch it, but rather discussed an exchange with Ning Qing. In the Yixing mainland, not all the people were like that cultivator surnamed Chu, there were also people like Dong Guoxiao who had their own standpoint. Ning Qing knew about the True Internal Organs Pill, this was one of the best level 3 healing pills. For Zhang Shua and Meng Jingxiu's current injuries, the True Internal Organs Pill was indeed much better than the mysterious frost zoishes. Meng Jingxiu's arm was severely injured, but it was not completely cut off, so using the True Internal Organs Pill would be much better. "Okay, I have the rare rank 4 spiritual grass mysterious frost zoishes, then I will use a stock to exchange for your 2 pills." Ning Qing took out a stock of mysterious frost zoishes and handed it to Dong Guoxiao. He also knew that if it was outside, then using the precious mysterious frost zoishes to exchange for 2 True Internal Organs pills should be possible, but in here, using a stock of mysterious frost zoishes to exchange for 2 True Internal Organs pills, it really was very difficult. However, doing business was all about asking for a sky-high price, and then returning the money on the spot. If it was really not possible, then he would use 2 stocks, he only had 3 stocks of mysterious frost zoishes. Dong Guoxiao slightly hesitated and said, "In here, if I exchange with you, then I will eat a little loss, forget it, I am in urgent need of this mysterious frost zoishes. Can you also sell the other stock to me?" Ning Qing did not think that Dong Guoxiao would be such an honest person, since he had already bargained, he certainly would not take out the other stock, he quickly stuffed the stock of mysterious frost zoishes into the hands of the opposite party and said, "The other stock is something that I am in urgent need of. Thank you Dong Guo friend, later on when I go to the Feng continent, I will definitely take care of your business." Dong Guoxiao also immediately gave the 2 pills to Ning Qing, although he looked very straightforward and honest when discussing business, but he was very stingy about other things, and did not even give a jade bottle to Ning Qing. Ning Qing certainly did not care about this, he quickly put the 2 pills into Meng Jingxiu and Zhang Shua's mouths, and then used his spiritual consciousness to carefully help Meng Jingxiu reattach her arm, and then fixed it in place and said, "The 2 of you quickly circulate your true essence, and dissolve the medicinal properties. I have heard of the reputation of the True Internal Organs Pill, it should not be a big deal." Meng Jingxiu and Sung Shua gratefully looked at Ning Cheng. They also knew that this was not the time to talk, and quickly closed their eyes and circulated their true essence to heal their injuries. Dong Guoxiao seemed to know that Ning Cheng would have some trouble in the future. After exchanging for a stock of mysterious frost zoysias, he quickly left the place. He was extremely excited in his heart. He was in dire need of the mysterious frost zoysias, and did not think that he would be able to obtain it so easily. The reason why he was not willing to talk about the price with Ning Cheng was that his temperament was originally like this, and also because he knew that Ning Cheng's troubles would soon come. He was not willing to get involved in it. If Ning Cheng did not die, then maybe he would come and trade with Ning Cheng. Of course, if Ning Cheng's mysterious frost zoysias were taken away by Chu Tongfu, then he would also look for Chu Tongfu to trade. Senior apprentice brother Shao Cheng, that person came. It was him and his junior apprentice brother who seriously injured senior apprentice sister Jingxiu and senior apprentice brother Tsang. He also took away the essence-raising fruit that I obtained and senior apprentice brother Tsang's storage bag. If not for a spiritual grass hill being opened, then he would have already killed the three of us. Ruemu Danqin saw that the cultivator surnamed Chu once again come over, as she stood behind Ning Cheng with some fear, and carefully spoke out. "Ha, it really is one more person who came to die. Is this your senior apprentice brother Shao Cheng? Good, since everyone is here, then you would not have to worry about him after death." The person surnamed Chu who had seriously injured Sung Shua and robbed the storage bag had not yet arrived, but his voice had already arrived. Chapter 140. Junior apprentice sister Danqin, is he the one who snatched your essence-raising fruits, and then seriously injured junior apprentice sister Jing Xiu and junior apprentice brother Tsang? Ning Cheng looked at the man surnamed Chu and asked in a slow voice. Stop pretending. The man surnamed Chu had a rank 4 spiritual grass snatched away by someone a moment ago. Moreover, the person who had snatched away his rank 4 spiritual grass was not a small figure. Therefore, he did not dare to make a move against them. At this moment, his heart was in a bad mood. Ning Cheng looked like he was asking for a beating. He could not bear it any longer, as the green claw was already in his hands. If not for Ruemu Danqin saying that senior apprentice brother Shao Cheng would come, he would not have even brought out his magical weapon. Since Ning Cheng had already been mentioned, then presumably he still had a few more moves left, which was why he brought out his magical weapon. The man surnamed Chu brought out a magical weapon, but Ning Cheng did not have any thoughts of taking out his golden great axe, as he immediately flew up, while simultaneously punching out with his fist. Ning Cheng's essence-building realm true essence was so rich that even he himself did not feel it. The power of the mysterious yellow formless cultivation method was undoubtedly revealed at this moment. The axe fist that was filled with the killing intent directly rolled up an axe shadow killing wall around this cultivator surnamed Chu. This cultivator surnamed Chu was completely wrapped up by Ning Cheng's axe fist's killing intent, as the formidable deathly aura shrouded him. How could he still have the courage to bring out his green claw? At this moment, there was only one thought in his mind. He had provoked someone he shouldn't have, and kicked someone he shouldn't have kicked. If he had known that this senior apprentice brother Shao Cheng was really so terrifying, he would have at most snatched away the essence-raising fruit. I am. The man surnamed Chu hastily reported his origin. Not to mention that Ning Cheng did not want him to reveal his origins at this time. Even if he did, Ning Cheng would still kill this fellow. If he could not force the other party to reveal his origins, then it would reduce some trouble. Ning Cheng certainly would not give up. The berserk killing force of the axe fist directly blasted back the words of the man surnamed Chu. Not waiting for the man surnamed Chu to react, Ning Cheng's axe fist had already solidly bombarded the body of the man surnamed Chu. Poof. That man surnamed Chu did not even have the ability to resist, as a bloody mist sprayed out, as he was directly killed by Ning Cheng's axe fist. After Ning Cheng killed that man surnamed Chu with a single punch, he calmly walked over and picked up his storage bag. Ning Cheng swept out with his spiritual consciousness and immediately found Sung Shua's storage bag. The surrounding onlookers were completely sluggish, even some of the essence-building cultivators could not believe what they saw in Ning Cheng. They could vaguely feel that Ning Cheng also had the cultivation of essence-building realm, but his cultivation was definitely not at the intermediate stage of essence-building realm or even the late stage of essence-building realm, that is to say, Ning Cheng was most likely only at essence-building first level. For an essence-building first-level cultivator to kill a true condensation ninth-level cultivator was indeed very simple, but Ning Cheng was simply too simple. Moreover, Ning Cheng's axe fist was even more astonishing. Even the few cultivators from the Hua continent were looking at Ning Cheng in a daze. They were well aware of Ning Cheng's strength, so if Ning Cheng was able to kill that man surnamed Shu, then they would not find it strange at all. However, Ning Cheng was able to kill that man surnamed Chu so easily, which meant that his cultivation had definitely made some progress in this place. The true internal organs pill was indeed an excellent healing pill. Zhang Shua was already able to stand up, as he took the storage bag from Ning Cheng and said in a worried voice, "Thank you senior apprentice brother Ning for helping me take revenge. I estimate that this time we are in big trouble." While Ning Cheng and Zhang Shua were talking, Yong Guyun quietly pulled Yuing over, and anxiously said, "Yuing, why are you together with that man surnamed Ning? Don't you know what kind of person he is? He is together with Su Zhu, and relying on a few magic skills. Do you even know who he killed a moment ago? Le Province's Red Heaven 7-Star Academy's disciple. You better hurry up and stand beside senior apprentice sister Meng Yujing, and pretend that you don't know anything about this matter." Yuing looked at Yong Guyun with a puzzled expression and said, "Senior apprentice sister Guyun, why are you standing here alone?" Yong Guyun looked at the man at her side, and her face turned slightly red, and at the same time spoke to Yuing in a somewhat bashful manner. "This is Celestial Globe 7-Star Academy's senior apprentice brother Lao Sheng. Senior apprentice brother Lao and I are very good friends. After I go out, I will also join the Celestial Globe 7-Star Academy. Later when you join the Celestial Globe 7-Star Academy, we will still be senior apprentice sister and junior apprentice sister." Saying that, Yong Guyun turned to the short man at her side and said, "Senior apprentice brother Lao, this is the one that I told you about before, junior apprentice sister Yuing who will be joining the Celestial Globe Academy. Junior apprentice sister Yuing has a pure wind spiritual root." Wind spirit root? The essence-building cultivator called Lao Sheng's eyes lit up, and then he cupped his fists towards Yuing and said, "Junior apprentice sister, you will definitely be a core disciple of my Celestial Globe Academy, so we will have to exchange and communicate with each other in the future." "Greetings senior apprentice brother Lao." Yuing also returned the courtesy. Lao Sheng said to Yong Guyun with a smile, "Junior apprentice sister Guyun, junior apprentice sister Yuing has successfully advanced to the true condensation realm. I estimate that you will have to call her senior apprentice sister Yuing from now on." "Ah." Yong Guyun looked at Yuing in shock. She was very clear that before they entered the Angry Axe Valley, Yuing was still at Qi Gathering 6th level. How could she advance so quickly to the true condensation realm? This was simply impossible. Even if she stayed in the Falling Star Academy to cultivate, it would still be impossible for her to reach the true condensation realm so quickly. Yuing smiled and said, "That's right, I have indeed reached the true condensation realm. I'm going to go to senior apprentice brother Ning's place, let's talk later." Yong Guyun finally reacted, and hastily called out, "Yuing, why are you still going to Ning City? Don't you know what kind of person he is? Besides, you'd be courting death if you went now." The essence-building cultivators of the Red Heaven Academy would absolutely not let go of Ning Cheng. Even if Ning Cheng was powerful, how could he fight against an essence-building cultivator? With your qualifications, coupled with Senior Kang's appreciation, later when you go to the Celestial Globe Academy, you would definitely have a bigger development. We are all from the Ping continent, so in the future we will have to help each other. That's right. Senior apprentice sister Gu Yun, why are you not together with senior apprentice sister Meng and the others? Yuing suddenly asked an unrelated matter. Yong Gu Yun's expression was somewhat unnatural as she spoke. "I may not return to the Hua continent in the future, it would be more convenient for me to be together with senior apprentice brother Lao." Yuing nodded, she already understood in her heart. If she did not know that she would definitely join the Celestial Globe Academy, and even get the attention of Senior Kang. Yong Guyun would definitely not have said those words to her, and even told her not to go and die together with Ning Cheng. What Guyun said is right, if you go now, then it would indeed be a dead end. That Ning Cheng killed the disciples of the Red Heaven Academy, he already has no way out. Since you are already in the true condensation realm, then you can come with us, later you can also go to the Celestial Globe Academy together. Lao Sheng smiled and added a sentence from the side. Ying smiled and said, "Thank you, Big Brother Ning helped me, I think that it would be better for me to go with him. Besides, I have not yet joined the Celestial Globe Academy, so when I separate from Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, I will be together with Senior Apprentice Sister Meng and the others." Looking at Yu Ying's back as she left, Lao Sheng suddenly said, "This Junior Apprentice Sister Yu Ying's words are very thorny, it seems that she has some opinions about you." Yong Guyun stared at Ning Cheng and said with hatred, "This surnamed Ning really has a way with women. Originally there was a girl called An Yi, if not for Junior Apprentice Sister Lu Shui discovering her early on, I estimate that she would also be like Yu Ying, played in the palm of his hand, and would never get tired of it. I hate this kind of guy who plays with women the most. Fortunately he will not do it again. If there is a next time, and he falls into my hands, I will definitely make him look good." Lao Sheng said with a sneer. Yong Guyun softly looked at Lao Sheng, and whispered, "In fact, I appreciate Senior Apprentice Brother Lao's temperament. That Ning Cheng is just relying on a kind of spear technique, to flaunt his strength in front of a true condensation cultivator. You dare to kill a disciple of my Red Heaven Academy?" An angry and ruthless voice sounded from a distance, and then a brown-robed figure landed in front of Ning Cheng. "Did you kill Chu Tongfu? You little bastard." As the figure landed, he immediately brought out a flying sword. His voice and the flying sword almost came out at the same time. He simply did not wait for Ning Cheng to answer. Ning Cheng could see that this true condensation 9th level cultivator was much more powerful than the previous cultivator surnamed Chu. For Ning Cheng, even if the opposite party was 10 times more powerful than the previous one, in front of him, it would only be a piece of cake. Senior Apprentice Brother Xiao Cheng, he is Shang Mao Gao. Senior Apprentice Sister Jing Xiu's arm was almost chopped off by him, moreover the injury on Senior Apprentice Sister Jing Xiu's lower abdomen was also done by him, moreover his flying sword light is very powerful. Ruemu Danqin was afraid that Ning Cheng would suffer a loss, and quickly reminded Ning Cheng from the side. Ning Cheng showed a faint smile. "This kind of trash is even more powerful, but that's all. Look at his arrogant and bullying appearance, he will soon know what it means to bully people." Saying that, he did not even move, as he raised his hand and blasted out 3 consecutive punches. These 3 punches did not even use his axe fist. Before he had used his axe fist to kill that cultivator surnamed Chu, it really was a waste of his talent. These 3 punches were just ordinary punches, moreover these 3 punches were not even very coherent, as they were slow and stagnant. Seeing that Ning Cheng did not even bring out his artifact, Shang Mao Gao was so angry that he gnashed his teeth to pieces. He must let Ning Cheng know the fearsomeness of his Luren sword light. He must grind Ning Cheng into pieces, and not let him die. So that Ning Cheng could see with his own eyes, how he, Shang Mao Gao, would slowly kill the 3 people behind him. But Shang Mao Gao soon felt that something was wrong. His Luren sword light had sent out 6 strange sword lights. These sword lights were able to lock down the surrounding imposing manner, binding Ning Cheng. Even extending his spiritual sense had become extremely difficult. But after his Luren sword light blasted out, the 6 strange sword lights had not yet taken shape, when they were blocked by a powerful true essence fist force. Cha-cha. The 6 sword lights in the air gave out a kind of sound, not to mention forming the imposing manner of the sword lights. Even taking shape was extremely difficult. The Luren sword light that had not yet taken shape was smashed into pieces by Ning Cheng's fist, and turned into nothingness. Shang Mao Gao's famous Luren sword light, in front of Ning Cheng's fist, was simply a joke. "You are not Ning." Shang Mao Gao had not even finished his words, when he felt Ning Cheng's second fist had already arrived. At this time Shang Mao Gao was scared out of his wits. Even if he was more powerful, he could not be arrogant in front of an essence-building cultivator. He really wanted to beg for mercy, but at this time Ning Cheng's second fist wind had completely sealed him. Even if he could move, it would be extremely difficult for him to even move, not to mention the flow of air to speak. If he could, at this time he was willing to kneel down and beg for mercy. As long as Ning Cheng let him go, the Red Heaven Academy would naturally send out an essence-building cultivator to kill Ning Cheng. But he did not have any chance at all. At the same time that he was bound, a scorching hot and terrifying fist shadow once again rumbled towards him. Shang Mao Gao knew that he absolutely would not be able to escape this third fist. Shang Mao Gao looked at this third fist in despair. He had never thought that he, who had always been proud and arrogant, and had always been one of the most outstanding people in the Red Heaven Academy, would die under these three fists. Moreover, he would not even have half a shred of strength to fight back. He finally understood what it meant to be a bully. Chapter 141. Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, I'm sorry, originally this matter had nothing to do with you, but you ended up getting involved in it. Zhang Shua spoke to Ning Cheng in a very uneasy manner. Ning Cheng calmly spoke to Ruemu Danqin, who was standing behind him. Junior apprentice sister Danqin, you can explain the whole matter to this person who is able to convince people with reason, and does not use his strength to bully the weak. Zhang Shua came to Ning Cheng's side and spoke in a low voice. Senior apprentice Brother Ning, they should be the essence-building cultivators of the Red Heaven Academy. The essence-building cultivators are all alone on the other side fighting over the spiritual grasses. They probably know that someone from their sect has been killed. Ning Cheng did not take the initiative to attack. He just grabbed the golden great axe and stared at the long-eyebrowed cultivator in front of him. As for that early-stage essence-building female cultivator with her phoenix eyes, Ning Cheng directly ignored her. The long-eyebrowed cultivator was not like that female cultivator, who immediately started fighting. He first cupped his fists towards the people around him and turned around in a half-circle. Before he spoke, I am Wu Zhen from the Red Heaven 7-Star Academy. I am a disciple of the Red Heaven 7-Star Academy, and will never bully the weak. This person relied on his own strength as an essence-building cultivator, and killed a true condensation core disciple of my Red Heaven Academy. I, Wu Zhen, want to take revenge. I think this logic is reasonable even if you say it to the ends of the heavens. Ning Cheng sneered and said, I did not hear that Chu Tongfu say that he was from the Red Heaven Academy. If you really want to start a fight, then don't look for any random reason. Come straight at me, I'll take them all. The female cultivator frowned. She gave a cold snort and was about to speak. Wu Zhen knew that her companion was about to take action, but it was not a good time to do so. Ning Cheng knew what this Dong Guoxiao was here for, as he gave a faint smile and spoke, if this friend Dong Gua is here to exchange for the mysterious frost zoysias, then forget about it. The mysterious frost zoysias are of great use to me. The true essence fluctuations coming from Ning Cheng's body and his cultivation level were not obvious. Moreover, his age was also not that old. Coupled with Ruemu Danqin calling him senior apprentice Brother Xiao Cheng, he did not put him in his eyes. In his view, even if Ning Cheng managed to defeat Chu Tongfu, he estimated that he would not be able to pass through Shang Mao Gao's hands. Besides, now that everyone was in the Angry Axe Valley, this news would not leak out. Regarding the cultivators from the Red Heaven Academy in the Angry Axe Valley, Ning Cheng really did not care about them. As long as he came out of the Angry Axe Valley, he would immediately think of a way to return to the Hua continent, and take away Ji Luofei. He had initially been observing Ning Cheng's cultivation, as Ning Cheng cultivated the mysterious yellow formless. As such, the overflow of his cultivation was not obvious. If he had the cultivation of profound congealing realm, then of course he would be able to see it at a glance, but his essence-building cultivation and Ning Cheng's essence-building cultivation simply could not be compared. As such, he would need to use his spiritual consciousness to observe Ning Cheng's cultivation for some time. In fact, other than Ruemu Danqin who rushed up, all the cultivators from the Hua continent remained silent. They were the same as the others. They did not think that Ning Cheng would be able to kill Shang Mao Gao so easily. He did not think that Ning Cheng would really kill Shang Mao Gao. Originally, he had already determined that Ning Cheng was already at the essence-building realm, but now that Ning Cheng once again made his move, he could immediately see that Ning Cheng was not very proficient in using the essence-building realm true essence, as such he should have just recently reached the essence-building realm. The long-browed cultivator who called himself Wu Zhen originally thought that after he finished speaking, the surrounding people would immediately echo his words. However, what he didn't expect was that after he finished speaking, there was an awkward silence. No one echoed his words. Senior apprentice sister Jing Xiu, senior apprentice brother Tsang, senior apprentice brother Shaoqing helped us take revenge, and killed these two bad guys. Shouldn't you be celebrating and happy? Ruimu Danqin quickly felt that the atmosphere was not right, and quickly asked. He stared at them and spoke in a deep voice, "We will investigate this matter. You killed a disciple of my Red Heaven Academy, just based on your side of the story. I simply cannot believe it. Besides, my Red Heaven Academy is also a 7-star academy. Even if there was a misunderstanding between you and the disciples of my Red Heaven Academy, you are just an essence-building cultivator. You cannot kill the disciples of my academy, you can just tell me." Ning Qing showed an apologetic look and said, "I'm sorry, I really do not want to sell the mysterious frost zoishas." The surrounding people were not fools, although a 7-star academy was great, but now everyone was trapped in the Angry Axe Valley. Moreover, Ning Cheng was so powerful, in the case that there was no result, who would be willing to offend him at this time? You also do not have the opportunity to sell. A cold voice interrupted Ning Cheng from the side. Dong Guoxiao knew that this was an essence-building cultivator from the Red Heaven Academy, as he quickly moved to the side. He was a true alchemist, and under normal circumstances, he rarely offended others, and very few people offended him. Shang Mao Gao was a core disciple of the Red Heaven 7-star Academy. Not only did he have an amazing cultivation level, but he also had infinite potential, and was one of the key disciples of the Red Heaven Academy. But such a person was actually killed by a single punch from Ning Cheng. How could the Red Heaven Academy let this matter go? Not to mention that the Red Heaven Academy would not give up, even the essence-building cultivators of the Red Heaven Academy in the Angry Axe Valley would not give up. Peng, the sound of leather being smashed into smithereens, Shang Mao Gao was directly sent flying by the formidable True Essence Fist Force. By the time he landed on the ground, his appearance was even more miserable than that of cultivator Chu. Now that Ning Cheng had instantly killed Chu Tongfu and Shang Mao Gao, he did not even need to use his spiritual consciousness to observe Ning Cheng, as he knew that Ning Cheng was an essence-building cultivator. As for who was in the right, he simply did not care. He was sure that even if the people from the Red Heaven Academy were in the wrong, there would still be people who would go along with them. But he didn't expect that no one would agree. This caused the other party to state the real reason, and the reason was that the disciples of the Red Heaven Academy were bullying the weak. This was a slap in the face for what he had just said. This friend really has some skill. This Dong Guozhao's eyes are blind. The bearded man who had exchanged the mysterious frost zoisha with Ning Cheng was the first to arrive in front of Ning Cheng. He was smiling from ear to ear, and his demeanor was several times more enthusiastic than before. This Dong Guoxiao had indeed come to exchange for the mysterious frost zoisha, but he did not expect that Ning Cheng would not only kill Chu Tongfu, but also Shang Mao Gao. Seeing that Ning Cheng did not even wait for him to speak, and had already spoken out in front of him, he could only give an awkward smile and said, "This friend can just name a price, as long as it is within my range, I can accept it." Similarly, although that cultivator surnamed Shu was also from the Red Heaven Academy, but his status compared to Shang Mao Gao was simply too far apart. No wonder he was able to kill martial nephew Shang. Originally he was relying on his essence-building cultivation to be amazing awe. Another male cultivator with long eyebrows spoke out in a sarcastic tone. He did not believe that other people could return to the Hua continent from the Jia continent, but he could not. Only Ning Cheng himself knew, even if he had not reached the essence-building realm, if he used his full strength, then it was not impossible for him to kill Shang Mao Gao with just 3 punches. Ning Cheng had already seen the people who had arrived. A woman with red phoenix eyes was at the Essence Building Realm 3rd level, and a male cultivator with long eyebrows who was overflowing with true essence was at the Essence Building Realm 7th level. When Ning Cheng killed that cultivator surnamed Chu, he could say that he had just arrived, and did not know who that cultivator surnamed Chu was, but now that Ning Cheng had killed Shang Mao Gao, it was obvious that he could not use this as a reason. Not killing Shang Mao Gao, but also explaining to Shang Mao Gao that he did not know that this cultivator surnamed Chu was from a 7-star academy. Then he would be humiliated in every possible way, and finally he estimated that he would be hunted down by others. Since that was the case, then it would be better to kill him and talk about it later. If there were still other essence-building cultivators from the Red Heaven Academy in the Angry Axe Valley who wanted to settle accounts with him, then he would definitely kill the opposite party. When Ning Cheng killed that cultivator surnamed Chu, he was already prepared, otherwise he would not have killed Shang Mao Gao. For him, not killing that cultivator surnamed Chu was simply not realistic. People wanted to kill him. If he still endured it, then it would not be in his nature. As for killing Shang Mao Gao, it was the same. Sang Shua's words had not yet finished, when that female cultivator raised her hand and shot out a blue light. Sang Shua felt his entire body turn cold. He did not even have the time to react, when he saw a golden great axe appear in Ning Cheng's hands. That blue light was blocked by the golden great axe, causing a harsh explosion sound to ring out, as all kinds of scattered true essence scattered in all directions. He did not think that the Red Heaven Academy would do such a thing. If every time a person offended the Red Heaven Academy, then the Red Heaven Academy would exterminate their academy, it would simply be too outrageous. Senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng, you really are too powerful. Ruemu Danqin excitedly rushed up and called out. In a place where strength was respected, if one wanted to reason with others, then it would be better to stick their own face out and let others slap it. The surroundings instantly turned silent. If Ning Cheng had killed that cultivator surnamed Chu, then it would not have shocked the people. But for Ning Cheng to kill Shang Mao Gao, it was already beyond everyone's expectations. Situ Yu was a bit bitter in his heart. He had given up the match against Ning Cheng in the Moze Grand Plaza in the 3rd round, but in his heart he thought that the difference between him and Ning Cheng was not that big. But now he found that if he had to face Ning Cheng's 3 punches a moment ago, then he would not have been able to escape. Compared to the time when he was in the Moze Grand Plaza, Ning Cheng was several times more powerful. Don't worry. This matter has nothing to do with you. That person was killed by me, you are the victim. If the Red Heaven Academy dares to deal with the God Wind Academy because of this matter, then in the future when my cultivation goes up, I will definitely look for them. Ning Cheng patted Sang Shua's shoulder and said. Although his mouth was ridiculing Ning Cheng, but in his heart he was secretly surprised. A cultivator who had just advanced to the essence building realm, unexpectedly needed him to carefully observe them for a while before he could see their cultivation. Once the other party's cultivation stabilized, or even reached the middle stage of essence building realm, then he would not necessarily be able to see the other party's cultivation. If one did not know these two people, then it would not matter, but if one knew the cultivators surnamed Chu and Shang Mao Gao, then they would know that the consequences of Ning Cheng's actions were very serious. At the same time all the people also knew that Ning Cheng was definitely not a true condensation cultivator. There was no one in the true condensation realm who could kill Shang Mao Gao with just 3 punches. Although Ruemu Danqin had almost no experience, but she was very clever in her speech. In just a few words, she clearly stated the cause and effect of the matter, and finally said, if you do not believe me, then you can ask the people here. If senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng had not come early, then the 3 of us would not only have been robbed by the people from your Red Heaven Academy, but we would also have been killed. You guys step back, I'll deal with these 2 guys. Ning Cheng said in a sinking voice. He knew that in the face of an essence-building cultivator, Sang Shua and the others would not be able to help, not to mention that Sang Shua and Meng Jingxiu were still seriously injured. Wu Zhen's complexion turned a bit ugly. His original intention was that after he spoke, and the people around him echoed his words, then he would immediately kill Ning Cheng. If he did not echo, then at most he would lose the opportunity to please the Red Heaven Academy. Once he agreed, and in the event that Wu Zhen lost, then it was very likely that he would end up offending Ning Cheng. Besides, everyone here was clear about the matter. If Wu Zhen said that he was in the right, then it was simply a joke. Chapter 142. At this moment, Wu Zhen was extremely regretful. If he had known earlier that he would have killed them, he could have still killed the 4 of them. But in this way, the Red Heaven Academy would really have the reputation of bullying the weak. Of course, he did not know that Ning Cheng was not afraid of him at all. What's the point of wasting your breath on trash like him? A life for a life, a debt for a debt, it's only right and proper. How dare he try to reason with me? The female cultivator who came together with Wu Zhen did not have the same patience as Wu Zhen. As such, when she saw that Ning Cheng seemed to have a good reason, as such she did not have the patience to continue talking nonsense. While speaking, the 1,000 transformation wheel in his hand had already shot towards Ning Cheng. As the violent will lights smashed towards Ning Cheng, these will lights quickly took control of this space and turned into a variety of will shadows of different colors as they whizzed down. Other than the place where Ning Cheng was standing, which was still intact under Ning Cheng's imposing aura, the surroundings were completely destroyed by the explosion of the wheel lights. Under the formidable imposing manner of the wheel light, Ning Cheng's sleeves were making rustling sounds, but he did not move, nor did he bring out his golden great axe. Wu Zhen had not been able to think of a good reason to kill Ning Cheng, but now that his companion wanted to kill him with a life for a life, it was exactly what he wanted. However, when he saw that Ning Cheng unexpectedly did not move, he hesitated. He believed that Ren Yanyu would be able to kill Ning Cheng, but even if Ning Cheng was a late-stage essence-building cultivator, he would not dare to face this kind of violent colored wheel without making a move. At this time, Ning Cheng finally made his move. Ning Cheng did not bring out his golden great axe, rather he instantly placed the golden great axe on his back, while simultaneously blasting out with his spear. After Ning Cheng obtained the golden great axe, this was the first time that he had brought out an incomplete spear. He could already see that this female cultivator's 1,000 transformation will was not an ordinary artifact, but a spiritual artifact. Ning Cheng had never fought against a cultivator who wielded a spiritual artifact, as such he was somewhat worried that his golden great axe would be damaged by this female cultivator's 1,000 transformation wheel. Although the golden great axe was just an artifact, but Ning Cheng was very comfortable with it. Moreover, Ning Cheng believed that the profound ice spear shadows would be more effective in dealing with this kind of violent colored will lights and shadows. If that Wu Zhen dared to make a move, the golden great axe would be waiting for him. This time Ning Cheng did not try to hide the ice-cold profound ice spear shadows. His true essence and spiritual consciousness were already sufficient, so the profound ice spear shadows were just the right time to burst out. Ren Yanyu was very confident in her 1,000 transformation wheel. She believed that even if a middle-stage essence-building realm cultivator met with her 1,000 transformation wheel, they would have to go all out to resist it. If they were even a little bit careless, then they would be swept away by her will shadows. If one was hit by her will shadow, even if they didn't die, they would be heavily injured. When she brought out the 1,000 transformation wheel, she found that Ning Cheng did not immediately bring out his magical weapon, causing her to sneer in her heart. He even went all out to stimulate his chakra light, wanting to shred the place where Ning Cheng was standing into pieces. Right at this moment, she suddenly felt that her surroundings seemed to have turned cold, and the chilling intent caused her will light to stagnate. She herself was also affected by this kind of cold, and her true essence was not as smooth as it was at the beginning. This person actually has an ice spirit root? Ren Wanyu was slightly surprised, as the profound ice spear shadows had already formed into a spear net. 30 bone-chilling spear shadows shot out, almost freezing the surrounding area in a radius of several feet. At the same time that Ning Cheng shot out, it immediately collided with the 1,000 transformation wheel's explosion of lights. Boom! The majestic imposing manner caused the surrounding area to be torn apart even more thoroughly, as large chunks of hard rocks were blasted apart, turning into dust, completely enveloping the place where Ning Cheng and the female cultivator were standing. The surrounding people with weak spiritual consciousness were simply unable to extend their spiritual consciousness into the whirlpool of the battle between the two people. Pa pa pa. The profound ice spear shadows formed into a spear net that seemed to have a substantial substance, as it completely tore apart the surrounding colored will lights, causing bursts of crackling sounds to ring out. As the formidable spear shadows pressed down on her body, Ren Yu's complexion changed. If she could not block this dense profound ice spear net, then even if she was not killed by the spear shadows, she would still be frozen solid by the cold. It was not until this moment that she understood that she was far from being Ning Cheng's opponent. Wu Zhen could already see that once Ning Cheng's spear net covered Ren Yu, then Ren Yu would die without a doubt. At this time he did not have any hesitation. The flying fire crow in his hands did not hesitate for even half a moment as it shot out. Two terrifying blazing flames spat out from the flying fire crow, and formed a half-moon shape between the profound ice spear shadows and the colored will shadows. Some of the cultivators with weaker cultivations once again retreated a lot. With this kind of terrifying temperature, once even a little bit of it splashed onto their body, then they would definitely die. Some of the cultivators who were standing on Ning Cheng's side were already worried about Ning Cheng. They did not know how Ning Cheng would deal with this kind of terrifying flying fire crow's flames. Ning Cheng's profound ice spear shadows seemed to be slightly weakened because of this incomparably hot flame. Ren Yu felt a burst of relief, and was just thinking of withdrawing her 1000 transformation wheel, and then fight alongside Wu Zhen against Ning Cheng, when she felt a kind of killing intent that made her entire body go cold. This was not a chill that came from her body, rather it was a chill that came from her will and her soul. A golden axe trace appeared out of thin air, as it fell down from the void. She seemed to feel that her consciousness was also being struck by an axe shadow. This axe shadow even wanted to cut through her mind. The axe trace cut through all the surrounding true essence and imposing manner of the magical weapons, as it rumbled towards her. The 1000 transformation wheels will shadows were directly split apart by the golden axe shadow, and instantly dimmed. The two terrifying flames that the flying fire crow spat out, were also directly split into two halves by the golden axe shadow. Just as half of the flames were blown away by Ning Cheng was aware that the Star River in his Zifu moved, as an invisible force swept over the flames that were split apart by the axe trace were directly swept away by the Star River, and disappeared without a trace. Such a powerful axe-type killing intent. Ren Yu frantically retreated. She had been fighting against the killing intent of this hill for a long time, so when Ning Cheng's axe-type killing intent came out, she was immediately aware of it. This kind of feeling of being split apart made her shocked, so much so that she could not even give birth to half a thought of resistance. Puff. Ren Yu was already at a disadvantage, and did not have the ability to resist at all. Ning Cheng's angry axe, the first style, made her feel a chill in her heart, as the golden axe shadow passed through her dantian, without even the slightest pause. Ning Cheng was actually a bit relieved. It seems that even a spiritual artifact also depended on the person using it. Not everyone could threaten him with a spiritual artifact. At this time Wu Zhen could no longer pay attention to Ren Yu. As Ning Cheng's golden axe shadow descended, the formidable axe-type killing intent rumbled towards him. He immediately felt that it was not good. Almost at the same time, he unexpectedly discovered that the flames spouted out by the flying fire crow had disappeared without a trace. This was a strange flame that he had refined between the heavens and the earth. It was absolutely impossible for it to disappear without any reason. The formidable golden axe-type killing intent did not allow Wu Zhen to think too much, as the flying fire crow had already been completely stimulated. Catcha! The golden axe trace, with a formidable killing intent, exploded on Wu Zhen's flying fire crow, causing the true essence to once again explode out, causing the huge crater in the surroundings to become even more thorough. The formidable true essence backlash and the axe-type killing intent caused Wu Zhen to fly upside down. Bang! Wu Zhen was sent flying upside down, as he collided with a true condensation cultivator who was standing far away and watching the fight. However, Ning Cheng's first trace only managed to kill Ren Yu, and did not injure Wu Zhen at all. Wu Zhen almost stopped flying upside down, as he once again landed in front of Ning Cheng, as he angrily shouted with flames in his eyes, "You actually dare to kill an essence-building cultivator of my Red Heaven Academy." While speaking, Wu Zhen's boundless killing intent burst out in a twinkling of an eye. The surrounding gravel that had been smashed into pieces by his imposing manner formed a true essence wall that cut through the air. At this time, Wu Zhen was still talking nonsense, but Ning Cheng was too lazy to even speak half a word. The golden great axe once again split through the air, bringing with it an even more killing intent axe shadow. Wu Zhen's flying fire crow also blasted out. This time the flying fire crow shot out 4 fire lines. The terrifying scorching temperature even burned the surrounding air with a chi-chi sound. As the 4 fire lines collided with Ning Cheng's golden great axe shadow, the killing intent of the axe shadow immediately weakened a bit. The Star River in Ning Cheng's Zifu once again moved. The 4 fire lines had just touched the killing intent of the axe shadow, when they were swept away by the Star River. Even if Wu Zhen was an idiot, he knew that his magic weapon was being countered by Ning Cheng, coupled with Ning Cheng's terrifying axe-type killing intent. At this time he was very clear, if he continued to fight, then he absolutely would not be Ning Cheng's opponent. "Let's leave first." Wu Zhen was incomparably decisive. When he decided to leave, he even abandoned his flying fire crow. His figure immediately faded. It seems that he was using some kind of escape technique. At this time, the golden axe shadow's killing intent had already descended. Wu Zhen's faded figure once again became clear. Under this kind of terrifying axe shadow's killing intent, he simply could not use his escape technique. He had to block the axe shadow's killing intent, or avoid it. Only then would he be able to use his escape technique. "I am a person from the Red Heaven 7-Star Academy. If you kill me again, my Red Heaven Academy will definitely not let you go. If you are willing to stop, then the previous matter will be written off." At this time, Wu Zhen did not care about his face. On one hand he was eagerly begging for mercy, on the other hand he was trying to find a way to avoid Ning Cheng's axe-type killing intent. For him, the most important thing right now was to escape. If he wholeheartedly wanted to fight with Ning Cheng, then perhaps he could still hold on for a while. Using this kind of threat to deal with Ning Cheng, Wu Zhen really thought too highly of his Red Heaven Academy. Not to mention that Ning Cheng had already killed 3 disciples of the Red Heaven Academy. Even if he had not started, at this time he would not let Wu Zhen go. After Wu Zhen finished saying this sentence, he immediately felt Ning Cheng's axe-type killing intent. He was overjoyed in his heart, thinking that his strategy had succeeded. He crazily stimulated his true essence. But he soon fell into despair. The axe-type killing intent that had stagnated for a moment did not dissipate, rather it turned into a huge whirlpool. This line of axe-type killing intent turned into a tornado of killing intent, completely engulfing the surroundings. But he was in the middle of this whirlpool. The killing intent that had penetrated into his bone marrow made Wu Zhen unable to escape. He could only reluctantly bring out the flying fire crow. Cha-cha. After the sound of the flying fire crow, Wu Zhen no longer made even the slightest sound. Chapter 143. What a strong killing intent. This killing intent seems to be similar to the killing intent in front of the spiritual grass hills. Indeed, this is the killing intent of the Angry Axe Valley. Moreover, that person is also using a golden great axe. Could it be that he has already comprehended the axe-type killing intent of the Angry Axe Valley? So powerful. The onlookers had been looking for spiritual grasses in front of this hill, and some of them could already feel the formidable axe-type killing intent coming from Ning Cheng. Under Ning Cheng's formidable axe-type killing intent, even if Ning Cheng killed 4 disciples of the Red Heaven Academy, it was already an insignificant matter. Every time the Angry Axe Valley opened, there would always be a lot of people entering, but the people who could truly comprehend the axe intent were very rare. Every person who comprehended the axe intent, as long as they did not fall, would eventually be able to achieve something. Even Sang Shua was pleasantly surprised. Ning Cheng killing Shang Mao Gao and Chu Tongfu did not make him feel strange, as he had already experienced Ning Cheng's fierceness. He had not thought that Ning Cheng would unexpectedly be able to kill 2 essence-building cultivators from the Red Heaven Academy. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would never have believed such a result. "Senior apprentice brother Ning, are you already in the essence building realm? Zhang Shua now knew that Ning Cheng was definitely in the essence building realm. Senior apprentice brother Ning Cheng, it was you who gave me the quota to enter the Angry Axe Valley, and now you saved my life, thank you. Meng Jingxiu came over and spoke to Ning Cheng in a very grateful manner. After saying that, she hesitated for a moment and then added a sentence, Senior apprentice brother Ning, I have something else that I want to. Ning Cheng raised his hand to stop Meng Jingxiu's words. I know, we can talk about this later. Meng Jingxiu had said in the Moze Grand Plaza that she had entered the Angry Axe Valley and that she would definitely have something to pay for. As such, Ning Cheng had initially suspected that she had some sort of secret in the Angry Axe Valley. Now that Meng Jingxiu mentioned it again, it made him even more sure that what he thought was not wrong. However, it was better to talk about such things when there were only the two of them. Ha ha ha. A burst of hearty laughter arrived, as a slender man landed beside Ning Cheng and the others. Behind the slender male cultivator were two men and a woman. Adding the laughing male cultivator, there were a total of 4 people. Ning Cheng's expression remained the same, as if he did not care about this male cultivator. He just nonchalantly picked up the storage bag and magic treasures on the ground, and then calmly looked at the person who came, not saying a word. This slender male cultivator already had the cultivation of essence building 8th level, but the aura coming from his body was very dangerous, and should be a lot stronger than Wu Zhen. Among the 3 people behind him, apart from a short stature male cultivator who was only at essence building 3rd level, the other 2 were at essence building 6th level. Friend, I am Wanhong from the Feng Continent's Profound Moon 7-Star Academy, and I would like to invite you to join our team. How about we borrow each other's strength to search for spiritual herbs together? Not only was Wanhong handsome, but he also had a slender figure. The way he spoke also made people feel like they were bathing in a spring breeze. Ning Cheng frowned, looking for spiritual grasses together. He had already seen many hills with spirit grasses. Moreover, he had also seen many people dealing with a hill. The hills seemed to have a restriction. However, he did not know the specifics. As soon as he arrived, he immediately clashed with the cultivators from the Red Heaven Academy, and it was only until a moment ago that he finally calmed down. Wanhong saw that Ning Cheng did not understand, and quickly explained, my team has a total of 6 people, the previous Wu Zhen and Ren Yanyu have already fallen, if you do not mind, then you can replace them and join our team, we can equally distribute the spiritual grasses that we collect. Seeing that Ning Cheng still did not understand, Zhang Shua spoke from the side, Senior apprentice brother Ning, it's like this. The hills here have many spiritual grasses, but these hills seem to be surrounded by a kind of axe-type killing intent from the Angry Axe Valley. If you cannot use your imposing manner or some other method to break through the axe-type killing intent in front of the hills, then there is no way to enter the hills to collect the spiritual grasses. If you forcibly attack, then not only would you not be able to break through the killing intent in front of the hills, but it would also make the killing intent grow stronger and stronger. Therefore, the essence building seniors here have formed a team to fight against the killing intent in front of the hills. Once you break through the axe-type killing intent in front of the hills, then you can enter the hills to collect the spiritual grasses. The strength of the true condensation cultivators is slightly weaker, so they can only swarm up, and rely on their imposing manner to break through the hills. As long as the killing intent in front of the hills is broken, then everyone can snatch it together, moreover the more powerful they are, the more they can snatch. Because junior apprentice sister Danqin followed behind, she picked up a fruit. Zhang Shua explained, Ning Cheng immediately came to understand, originally the spiritual grasses in the hills were all wrapped up by the killing intent. To deal with the axe-type killing intent in the Angry Axe Valley, he still had some experience. Many thanks for elder brother Wan's appreciation, but I do not intend to form a team with others for the time being. Ning Cheng euphemistically cupped his fists and spoke. Wanhong was a bit regretful, but he still did not give up and tried to persuade him, friend, the killing intent in here is something that a single person absolutely cannot resist. Previously there were a few essence-building cultivators with powerful cultivations, who wanted to rely on a single person to resist the axe-type killing intent in here. The result was that they were directly killed by the killing intent in here, and did not even have half a shred of resistance. Wan Hong had just seen Ning Cheng's attack. Ning Cheng's great axe was filled with a formidable axe-type killing intent. If Ning Cheng joined them, then their success rate in breaking through the killing intent in front of the hills would definitely increase exponentially. The effect would definitely not be worse than Wu Zhen and Ren Yanyu added together. Ning Cheng still smiled and said, "Thank you, but I really do not have any plans to form a team. Moreover, I also have a few junior apprentice brothers and junior apprentice sisters. Even if I wanted to form a team, I would still be together with them." Wan Hong regretfully looked at Sang Shua and the others on the side, and said, "Since that is the case, then forget it." Although Ning Cheng was good, but because of Ning Cheng he had to form a team with Sang Shua and the others, he was not willing to do so. A few people did not do anything, and instead wanted to distribute the spiritual grasses. How could there be such a good thing? Elder brother Ning, congratulations on successfully advancing to the essence-building realm. Seeing Wan Hong leave, Situ Yu, who had long since wanted to come over and say hello, came up with a smile. Senior apprentice brother Xiao Cheng, before senior apprentice sister Jing Xiu and senior apprentice brother Tsang were seriously injured, only this senior apprentice brother came to help. He gave us 2 healing pills. Ruemu Danqin was very grateful to Situ Yu. Now that Situ Yu came over, she quickly spoke in Ning Cheng's ear. Situ Yu awkwardly said, "I am really ashamed, my strength is limited, and could only leave behind 2 pills, and then helplessly watch senior apprentice brother Tsang and junior apprentice sister Meng being bullied." Ning Cheng quickly said, "Many thanks elder brother Situ. With elder brother Situ's cultivation, for you to be able to do this Ning Cheng will definitely remember it." Ning Cheng was very clear about the situation here. He would not blame the other people from the Hua continent for not helping out, because if the other people tried to help, then they would only end up dead. Because of this, Situ Yu was able to take out the pills to help. It was enough to show his gratitude. Regardless of what would happen when he went out, at this time Ning Cheng was showing his prestige here. It was enough to shock anyone here. Among the cultivators from the Hua continent, other than Yong Guyun who had found a backer, the rest of the people were not able to find a backer. Now they wanted to come over and say hello to Ning Cheng, and at the same time look for a backer. But thinking that the disciples of the God Wind Academy were being bullied, and none of them came forward, they did not have the face to come forward. Standing together with Yong Guyun was a short cultivator called Lao Sheng, but at this time his complexion was somewhat ugly. He had thought that he could easily kill Ning Cheng, but now he knew that Ning Cheng could easily kill him. He knew that he was definitely not Wu Zhen's opponent, but now Ning Cheng had even killed Wu Zhen. Moreover, it was under the joint attack of 2 essence-building cultivators. With this kind of cultivation, how could he even care about an early-stage essence-building cultivator? Yong Guyun was also staring at Ning Cheng in shock. She had not thought that Ning Cheng had already successfully advanced to the essence-building realm. Did this guy really have a hybrid spiritual root? Wasn't this cultivation speed simply too terrifying? Other people were not very intuitive about Ning Cheng's cultivation level. Many of the people from the Hua continent even thought that Ning Cheng had concealed his cultivation level during the great meet in the Moze Grand Plaza. Only she was very clear that Ning Cheng had not concealed his cultivation level. Not only did he not conceal his cultivation level, but he had also advanced from the Qi-gathering realm to the essence-building realm, and had only used a little bit of time. It was merely 2 years. Yong Guyun was obviously a lot of worldly wisdom, as she looked at Lao Sheng, and thought about the words that Lao Sheng had spoken to her before, and immediately knew what Lao Sheng was thinking in his heart. She hurriedly spoke up to comfort him. He has a hybrid spiritual root. It was only in the Angry Axe Valley that he obtained a few opportunities, that he has this kind of cultivation level. Once he comes out of the Angry Axe Valley, not to mention that he would be hunted down by the Red Heaven Academy. Even if he was not hunted down, with his qualifications, he would not be able to enter an advanced level academy or an academy. If he wanted to make any big progress, then I estimate that it would be very difficult. Lao Sheng knew that Yong Guyun's words were meant to please him, but his complexion still eased a lot. Then he nodded and said, "What you said is right. a rogue cultivator only has one or two opportunities, it would not always be accompanied by good luck. That's right, is the girl beside him really a pure wind spiritual root? That's right, Ying definitely has a pure wind spiritual root, moreover when she tested her spiritual root, it was a pure white color. Yong Guyun spoke with certainty. A pure white-colored wind spiritual root. Lao Sheng was not Yong Guyun, as he almost screamed out loud. He knew that in the Ping continent, as long as the color of a single main spiritual root reached a cloudy white color, then it could be called a pure spiritual root. He had previously thought that Yu Ying's pure wind spiritual root would also be cloudy white, at most it would be white, but he did not think that it would actually be a pure white. Who has a pure white wind spiritual root? A cold voice sounded out from beside Yong Guyun and Lao Sheng. Appearing in front of the two of them was a purple-robed woman with a veil covering her face. Her cultivation should be around true condensation 9th level, and beside her was a middle-aged cultivator. Lao Sheng could only know that this middle-aged cultivator's cultivation was higher than his, but he could not see what level of essence-building realm he was at. I am Lao Sheng from the Celestial Globe 7-Star Academy. Lao Sheng had not even finished, when he was interrupted by the purple-robed woman with a veil covering her face. I asked you who has a pure white wind spiritual root, not you. Hearing a true condensation 9th level cultivator speak, Lao Sheng subconsciously shivered, as he hurriedly spoke. She is called Ying. She is. Yong Guyun also knew that the origin of the two people in front of her was not ordinary, and hurriedly spoke. Junior apprentice sister Ying and I are from the Hua continent. She indeed has a pure white wind spiritual root. She is over there. Saying that, Yong Guyun pointed towards Ying who was still talking to Ruemu Danchin. Chapter 144. You are called Ying, do you have a pure white wind spiritual root? The purple-robed woman with a veil covering her face quickly arrived in front of Ying, and opened her mouth to ask. Ying and Ruemu Danchin's age was similar, although she was a lot more mature than Ruemu Danchin, but with the same age they still had a lot in common. At this time she was chatting non-stop with Ruemu Danchin. Now that a strange woman suddenly stared at her and asked about her spirit roots, she was a little surprised. Although the spirit root was not a secret, he would not casually tell a stranger about it. When the purple-robed woman and the middle-aged male cultivator arrived, Ning Cheng had already noticed them. He seemed to have seen these two people when he was mining. Ying was only 2 or 3 years younger than Ning Cheng, but in Ning Cheng's opinion, Ying's age was still too young. Since someone was asking about something, then of course he would have to come forward. Who are you, that you want to ask about Ying's spiritual roots? Ning Cheng also did not use any honorifics, just like how the purple-robed woman asked Ying. Ning Cheng came from Earth, so he believed that respect should be mutual. Since the other party did not respect him, then there was no need for him to do so. Unless he was facing someone whose cultivation far surpassed his, he would have no choice but to respectfully address him as senior. Of the two people in front of him, one was at true condensation 9th level, while the other was at late-stage essence-building realm. How could he put them in his eyes? Even if he knew that this late-stage essence-building cultivator was not simple, Ning Cheng did not care about it. Your concealment cultivation method is quite good. I don't know if you were at true condensation 9th level when you were mining, or if you had already reached the essence-building realm. This purple-robed woman wearing a veil over her face did not get angry because of Ning Cheng's impolite words, but rather spoke about Ning Cheng's cultivation method. She absolutely did not believe that Ning Cheng, who was at the true condensation 3rd level 6 months ago, would have already reached the essence-building realm by now. No matter how fast a person's cultivation was, it was impossible to be this fast. Ning Cheng thought to himself, sure enough, these two people really were there when he was mining. He simply said, when I was mining, I was already at true condensation 9th level, and dug out 2 best quality spirit stones from the spirit stone mine. Later, I used 2 best quality spirit stones to successfully enter the essence-building realm. When she heard Ning Cheng say that he had dug out a best quality spirit stone, the purple-robed woman wearing a veil over her face also showed a slight shock in her eyes. But when she heard that Ning Cheng had used best quality spirit stones to build the essence-building realm, her eyes revealed a trace of ridicule, as she spoke in a light voice, using best quality spirit stones to build the essence-building realm, moreover using 2 of them. This is the first time that I have heard of such a thing. You really are rich. Ning Cheng did not care about this purple-robed woman's sarcasm, as he turned to Tsang Shua and the others and said, let's go to the hills in front of us to have a look, and see if we can make a small fortune. Wait, Yuing has not answered my question. This purple-robed woman stopped Ning Cheng and the others. Ning Cheng frowned, and spoke with some displeasure. The few of us have nothing to do with you, and have never seen you before, so why should we tell you about our spiritual roots? Aren't you making things too difficult for me? The middle-aged male cultivator, on seeing that Ning Cheng and the purple-robed woman were not in agreement with each other, quickly came forward and cupped his fists before speaking. This friend, please do not misunderstand, we are from the Le Continent's Thoughtless Academy. We just happened to come here, and heard some people say that Yuing has a pure white wind spiritual root, so we really wanted to ask her, if Yuing really does have a pure white wind spiritual root, then our Thoughtless Academy would definitely welcome her to join us. As soon as the 3 words Thoughtless Academy came out, all the surrounding people who heard it immediately turned silent, as they looked at the middle-aged cultivator and the purple-robed woman with eyes filled with respect and worship. Some of the people looked at Yuing with even more envy, as they could not wait to immediately replace Yu Ying's position. On Ning Cheng's side, other than Tsang Shua, the rest of the people were all country bumpkins from the Hua continent, as such none of them had heard of the Thoughtless Academy. Tsang Shua knew that Ning Cheng and the others did not know about it, as he spoke in a low voice. I heard that the Thoughtless Academy is one of the 3 major academies of the Le Continent, and is also one of the 3 major academies of the Yixing mainland. The academy has many strong people, and has a very high status in the Yixing mainland. But I also heard that the Thoughtless Academy is extremely strict when it comes to recruiting disciples. If one does not have a certain level of qualifications, then they will not accept them. Once they are accepted, then the resources within the academy will also be available. You are wrong. After you join the Thoughtless Academy, you will not be able to get all the resources you need. All the resources are used to cultivate the core disciples. Ordinary disciples need to struggle on their own, in order to get the cultivation resources that they want. The purple-robed woman apparently heard Tsang Shua's words, and immediately retorted. But Ning Cheng was moved in his heart. No wonder this purple-robed woman had such a high and mighty appearance. It seems that she really does have some capital awe. If Yuing joined the Thoughtless Academy, then that old man surnamed Kong would just be like floating clouds to her. Yuing, you answer her truthfully. Ning Cheng nodded towards Yuing, who was looking at him. When Yuing saw Ning Cheng nod, she gave a salute to the purple-robed woman and said, replying to this elder sister's words, I really do have a pure white wind spiritual root. At this point, the purple-robed woman and the middle-aged male cultivator already understood that Ning Cheng was the leader here. When they heard Yuing say that she had a pure white wind spiritual root, their eyes flashed with a trace of excitement. A pure white wind spiritual root, even the Thoughtless Academy did not have it. Are you willing to join my Thoughtless Academy? The purple-robed woman did not even discuss with the middle-aged male cultivator, and eagerly looked at Yuing and asked. Saying that, she seemed to have remembered that Ning Cheng was the one in charge, and quickly said to Ning Cheng, my Thoughtless Academy is one of the 3 major academies in the entire Yixing mainland. Yuing has such a spiritual root qualification, only by joining the Thoughtless Academy would she be able to obtain the greatest improvement. In Ning Cheng's heart, he really hoped that Yuing would join the Thoughtless Academy. Yuing was currently in a lot of trouble, moreover he did not have the strength to fight against that cultivator surnamed Kong. Yuing also heard Tsang Shua's introduction of the Thoughtless Academy, and from the bottom of her heart she really wanted to join the Thoughtless Academy. But she knew that Ning Cheng had also offended that cultivator surnamed Kong. Thinking till here, Yuing quickly said, many thanks to this elder sister's kindness. Ning Cheng is my senior apprentice brother. I hope that he can also join the Thoughtless Academy. Speaking till here, she once again remembered Tsang Shua and the others, and added a sentence, we had previously offended the Red Heaven Academy, so I want to be with them. Yuing did not say that she hoped that Tsang Shua and the others would also join the Thoughtless Academy, but this purple-robed woman had already heard the meaning behind Yu Ying's words, causing her to suddenly frown. The Thoughtless Academy's recruitment of disciples was extremely strict. It was not something that anyone could casually join. Ning Cheng had used 2 best quality spirit stones to advance to the essence building realm. It would be strange if his spiritual root qualification was good. The purple-robed woman and the middle-aged cultivator exchanged glances, and then looked at Ruemu Danqin and the others and asked, "What kind of spiritual roots do the few of you have?" Ruemu Danqin was the first to speak. "I have a white pure fire spiritual root." White pure fire spiritual root. Not bad. With your spiritual root, you can join our Thoughtless Academy's inner sect. The purple-robed woman's eyes flashed with a hint of joy. If the rest of the people also had good spiritual roots, then she could also make the decision to join the Thoughtless Academy. In that case, Ewing would definitely join the Thoughtless Academy. But, these few people, with good spiritual roots, seemed to be unlikely. At least the leader of the group, senior apprentice Brother Ning, did not have a good spiritual root. "I have a muddy white main earth spiritual root, which is also a pure spiritual root." Zhang Shua also quickly spoke. The purple-robed woman's eyes showed a trace of disappointment, and then said, "Only a pure white spiritual root can be called a pure spiritual root. Even Ruemu Danqin's white fire spiritual root cannot be called a pure spiritual root." Zhang Shua said in a puzzled voice, "But when I tested for my spiritual root, I obviously only had a single main spiritual root." The middle-aged man showed a faint smile. "That is because the Hua continent's spiritual root testing magical weapon is wrong. As long as the main spiritual root is protruding, and the support spiritual root is not very obvious, some of the support spiritual roots cannot be tested. Because of this, the Hua continent's pure spiritual roots are as many as the hairs on an ox." Zhang Shua looked at the middle-aged man's mouth with a trace of a smile. How could he not understand the meaning of the other party? His face was somewhat hot. He was a core disciple of the God Wind Academy, not because his father was the dean, but because he truly had a pure spiritual root. He did not think that the Hua continent's pure spiritual roots, and the other high-leveled continent's pure spiritual roots would have such a big difference. The purple-robed woman said, "Even so, but you are now qualified to join our Wu Nian Academy's outer sect. As for whether or not you can become an inner sect disciple, it will depend on the degree of effort you put in." Even if it was the Wu Nian Academy's outer sect disciple, Zhang Shua would still be 100 times more willing, as he understood the Wu Nian Academy the best. But now that Ewing had not nodded her head, he could not show it, and could only thank the other party. He had already made up his mind. As long as he could join the Wu Nian Academy, he would ask Ewing to help him ask for a profound rainbow pill from the Wu Nian Academy. Meng Jingxiu said in a somewhat depressed manner, "I have a gold main spiritual root, although it is muddy white, but it is a 3-line hybrid spiritual root." The purple-robed woman frowned and said, "With your qualifications, there is no way for you to become an outer sect disciple of the Wu Nian Academy. If you do not mind, I can arrange for you to go to the Wu Nian Academy's shops to do some chores." Meng Jingxiu had always been a proud and arrogant person. How could she accept going to the Wu Nian Academy to do some chores? She gave a salute and said, "Many thanks to this senior apprentice sister's kindness, but I have already decided to become a rogue cultivator." Originally Meng Jingxiu had intended to return to the God Wind Academy, but now that she had seen too many powerful academies and talented people in the Angry Axe Valley, she no longer had any thoughts of returning to the God Wind Academy. The purple-robed woman nodded, and took out a pill and handed it to Meng Jingxiu and said, "This pill can help you recover from the injury on your arm in the shortest possible time, and will not affect your future cultivation." Some of the surrounding people were already anxious for Meng Jingxiu. Even if she went to the Wu Nian Academy's shops to do some chores, it would still be several times better than going to an ordinary academy or a rogue cultivator. This silly woman unexpectedly refused. Meng Jingxiu quickly took the pill, and once again thanked her. In the face of such a good thing, she would not refuse it. Once she refused, it would be the same as taking her own life as a joke. But Ning Cheng had some doubts in his heart. Meng Jingxiu also had a hybrid spiritual root, so how could she see the changes in the leather parchment? Even if she could only see 2 of them, but after all she could see the changes. According to his previous thoughts, a hybrid spiritual root would not be able to see the changes in the leather parchment. What about you? The purple-robed woman's words interrupted Ning Cheng's thoughts. Chapter 145. Ning Cheng cupped his fists and said, I have a multi-line hybrid spiritual root. I do not want to go to the shops, so I will not go to the Wunyan Academy. Big brother Ning. Yuing, on hearing Ning Cheng say that he would not go to the Wunyan Academy, became anxious in her heart, and called out. Ning Cheng motioned to Yuing not to worry, and calmly said, Yuing, going to the Wunyan Academy is the best thing for you. You can go to the Wunyan Academy and speak about your own matters. The Wunyan Academy will definitely help you. This kind of thing does not need to be concealed. I have my own matters. I think you are also clear about it. In the future, maybe I will go to the Wunyan Academy with Luo Fei to see you brother and sister. Despite Ning Cheng's explanation, Yuing was still somewhat anxious in her heart, and hastily said to the purple-robed woman, elder sister, although big brother Ning has a hybrid spiritual root, but his strength is amazing. He is absolutely not comparable to an ordinary essence-building cultivator. Moreover, big brother Ning is. The purple-robed woman said in a light voice, the reason why the Wunyan Academy is a big sect, is not because of the same level of strength as you can enter. The Wunyan Academy is more interested in potential. For a disciple with no potential, to be able to join the Wunyan Academy's shop management, is already the best that I can do. Ning Cheng's strength was strong, she was clearer than Yuing. She did not see the scene of Ning Cheng killing the two essence-building cultivators from the Red Heaven Academy, but when Ning Cheng was robbing the mine, he had fought against 6 people. Initially she thought that Ning Cheng was at true condensation 3rd level, but now it seems that Ning Cheng was not at true condensation 3rd level, but rather true condensation 9th level. It was just that Ning Cheng had concealed his cultivation. As for why Ning Cheng could fight against 6 people at the same level, in addition to him concealing his cultivation, the others also underestimated him. It should be because of his comprehension of the axe intent. She was sure that Ning Cheng had comprehended a kind of axe intent in the Angry Axe Valley. Only having the ability to comprehend, without a greater potential, was not qualified to join the Wunyan Academy. Even if one's comprehension was amazing, it would be impossible for one to fight against a profound congealing cultivator or even a profound core cultivator. Therefore, in a big sect, qualifications were the most important thing, followed by other things. Seeing that Yuing still wanted to say something, Ning Cheng quickly stopped Yu Ying's words. Yuing, if you return to the Hua continent first, then help me see Luofei. Later when you come to the Wunyan Academy, cultivate. Ning Cheng knew that Yuing would definitely go to the Hua continent. Yuing had a pure white wind spiritual root. Her big brother's spiritual root qualification was not worse than hers. The Wunyan Academy had no reason to not want her brother. And, I will definitely go and see elder sister Luo Fei. As for this pearl hair clip, I will definitely keep it. Yuing took out the pearl hair clip. Her heart suddenly felt somewhat reluctant. Being together with Ning Cheng, although they spent most of their time in cultivation, she liked that feeling very much. Let's go, the purple-robed woman said straightforwardly. Ruemu Danqin and Sung Shua also came over to say their goodbyes to Ning Cheng. They were very clear that even if Ning Cheng was powerful, but with the cultivation of essence-building realm, it would be very difficult for him to go to the Lu continent by himself. Looking at the purple-robed woman and the middle-aged male cultivator leaving with Yuing and the other 2 people, Ning Cheng was somewhat puzzled. There were so many spiritual grass hills here, yet this purple-robed woman actually did not care about it. Meng Jingxiu was not at all disappointed. She could see the doubts in Ning Cheng's eyes, and took the initiative to speak up, because there are too many good things in here. With the strength of the Wunyan Academy, I don't think that they would care about these low-leveled spiritual grasses, right? Brother Ning, I'm also going to look for some spiritual grasses. Sitayu, seeing Yuing and the others leave, came over and said. Ning Cheng patted Situyu's shoulder and said, go ahead, if anyone dares to snatch your spiritual grasses, then you can come and find me. Situ Yu was overjoyed in his heart. What he wanted to hear were these words: with Ning Qing killing 2 essence-building cultivators from the Red Heaven Academy, there really would not be anyone who would dare to find trouble with Situ Yu and the others. Seeing Situ Yu leave, Meng Jingxiu took the initiative to speak up. Senior apprentice brother Ning, should we go to another place, or should we go and get some spiritual grasses from these hills? Ning Qing gave a smile and said, since we are already here, of course we should first get some spiritual grasses. This place is just what I want. The spiritual grasses in this place were surrounded by the angry axe-killing intent outside the hills, and he had comprehended the angry axe-killing intent. Ning Qing believed that with his own ability, he would be able to break through the angry axe-killing intent in this place. If it really did not work, then he would just have to find some people to form a team with. Ning Qing took Meng Jingxiu and left. The rest of the surrounding cultivators also dispersed. Each of them went to look for spiritual grass hills, looking for a way to break through the killing intent of these hills. As for the matter of the Red Heaven Academy's disciples being killed, in this Angry Axe Valley, it was obviously not a big deal. Even if they wanted to find Ning Qing to settle accounts, it would be a matter for them after they left the Angry Axe Valley. Let's choose this one. Ning Qing and Meng Jingxiu stood in front of a verdant green hill and said. Meng Jingxiu gave an "n" sound, and was about to bring out her halberd. He saw that many cultivators had brought out their magical weapons, and then relied on the killing force of their magical weapons to resist these spiritual grass hills. Ning Qing stopped Meng Jingxiu and said, you follow behind me. If you rely on your magical weapons to resist the angry axe-killing intent here, then the 2 of us will definitely not be able to break through this hill. I will try it out by myself first. Ning Qing took a few steps forward. When he approached the hill, a powerful and continuous killing intent suddenly crashed down on him. If he was caught off guard, then perhaps he would have been smashed into slag by this killing intent. Meng Jingxiu followed behind Ning Qing. The killing intent that was being emitted from the hill was completely blocked by Ning Qing, as such she was not even aware of it. Just when she was puzzled, she saw Ning Qing's entire body start to tremble. Not waiting for her to open her mouth to ask, Ning Qing suddenly brought out his golden great axe and chopped it down. A pale golden axe trace appeared in front of Meng Jingxiu's eyes, as if it was cutting through the sky. Meng Jingxiu sluggishly looked at this golden axe trace, and was still in a daze in her heart. Didn't Ning Qing say that he could not rely on his magical weapons to attack? Why did he want to attack? At this time, Ning Qing did not remember that he had once said such words, as he once again returned to the scene in the Angry Axe Valley. It was as if there were countless axe traces filled with a powerful axe intent bombarding his consciousness. If he did not resist, then he would end up like that Lan Yuchen, and would eventually be killed by this powerful axe intent. His resistance was completely subconscious. Because Ning Qing had killed 4 disciples of the Red Heaven Academy, and also had his companions taken away by the Lu Continent's Wunyan Academy. For all the people here, Ning Qing could be considered as a celebrity. Every move that he made was noticed by some people. Some people saw that Ning Qing was trying to break through the killing intent in front of the spiritual grass hills, but did not care about it. The people who had just arrived here had already done such a thing, so when the killing intent surged out, the people who did such a thing would know how stupid they were, and would take the initiative to retreat, and then look for other people to team up with them. But these people who were paying attention to Ning Qing did not think that Ning Qing not only did not retreat, but instead brought out his own magical weapon. Some of the people could not even bear to look at it. As long as they retreated, it would not be a problem. Once they brought out their magical weapon to confront the killing intent in this place, then it would only be courting death. Before, there were several essence-building cultivators who relied on their own strength, but now they did not even have their bones left. It was because they dared to bring out their magical weapons to confront the killing intent in this place. Ning Qing bringing out his golden great axe to confront the killing intent in this place was not an impulsive action. He had already encountered this kind of situation in the real Angry Axe Valley. He vaguely understood that the axe intent that he had comprehended and the killing intent in this place had already formed a resonance, which made him completely different from the others. If he retreated, then it was very likely that he would be killed by the axe intent of this hill. The axe intent of the angry axe valley was all about moving forward, and never retreating. Caw! A very light and almost inaudible sound rang out, which was something that no one expected. Ning Cheng's axe intent was very formidable. According to reason, his axe intent should have caused a huge explosion of true essence, and then Ning Cheng would have been killed by the formidable killing intent. But they did not expect that Ning Cheng's axe intent would only cause a very slight sound. If one did not concentrate, then they would not even be able to hear this sound. A vague idea arose in Ning Cheng's consciousness. This kind of feeling flashed by. Ning Cheng did not even have time to catch it, before it disappeared. Ning Cheng sighed. He understood that this was definitely a new kind of axe intent, but unfortunately the axe intent in this place could not be compared to the real angry axe valley, as such he unexpectedly could not catch it. After this vague feeling disappeared, Ning Cheng felt that the killing intent in front of him had suddenly disappeared. It was as if an invisible road had appeared in front of him. The killing intent has disappeared. Let's quickly go in and collect the spiritual grasses. Ning Cheng said in a pleasantly surprised voice. He had not thought that with just a simple axe, he would be able to split open the killing intent barrier in front of the spiritual grass hill. Hey! He was not strangled by the killing intent, rather he went in. As soon as Ning Cheng and Meng Jingxiu entered the hill, they were immediately noticed by some people. Some of the greedy people hurriedly rushed in. Their thinking was very simple. They did not want to snatch the high-leveled spiritual grasses from Ning Cheng, but they wanted to snatch the low-leveled spiritual grasses that Ning Cheng did not want. But these people had not even rushed to the foot of the hill, when they were immediately blown away by the formidable killing intent. The killing intent in front of the hill is still there. How did they get in? After some people understood this point, they immediately called out in horror. Before all the hills, only after the killing intent was blasted away by the combined imposing manner of the many cultivators, only then would they be able to enter. Moreover, once the killing intent was blasted away, the killing intent in this place would also dissipate. But it was completely different from what Ning Cheng was doing. He had only used his axe to split open the killing intent in front of the hill, but it did not make the killing intent in this place disappear. I understand. He has comprehended the axe intent of the angry axe valley. As such he can use this axe intent to blast open the killing intent. None of the cultivators here were stupid. Previously when Ning Cheng had used his axe technique, it was obvious that he had grasped a very formidable axe-type killing intent. Now that Ning Cheng had used the same axe trace to blast open the killing intent barrier in front of the spiritual grass hill, it was not difficult to think of this. That's right, it is exactly like this. Originally the best way to resist the killing intent in front of the hill is to comprehend the axe intent here, rather than relying on the imposing manner of the people to win. Immediately some people understood how to break open the killing intent in front of the hill. Some of the cultivators even found a hill with a killing intent barrier, as they sat down and closed their eyes to carefully comprehend it. But at this time Ning Cheng and Meng Jingxiu were wantonly collecting the spiritual grasses. The spiritual grasses in this place were very rich, but there were only 2 people collecting them. This was simply the dream of Ning Cheng. There was only a single thought in his mind, and that was to wait until he got out of this place, then he would finally have the spiritual grasses for alchemy. Chapter 146. Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, why don't you even let go of some rank 1 and 2 spiritual grasses? Meng Jingxiu saw that as long as Ning Cheng found a spiritual grass, he would definitely collect it, and simply did not care about the grades. In fact, there were too many good things in the hill. There were level 1 spiritual herbs to level 4 spiritual herbs. There were even some level 5 spiritual herbs. Ning Cheng smiled and spoke, I am ready to learn alchemy, so these spiritual grasses are useful to me. You want to learn alchemy? Meng Jingxiu stared at Ning Cheng with wide eyes, and only reacted after a long while. It was because she knew how difficult refining pills was that she was so amazed. Not to mention the countless spiritual herbs and resources needed for alchemy, which was not something that ordinary people could afford. Even the innate conditions for alchemy were not something that anyone could do. The best spirit root for alchemy was the main fire spirit root, with wood spirit root as a supplement. Moreover, the spirit root could not be too mixed. Apart from that, he also needed to have an extremely strong talent in alchemy. Because of this, in the entire I Ching mainland, there were very few alchemy masters. Moreover, advanced-level alchemy masters were even rarer. Ning Qing seemed to have known that Meng Jingxiu would have such an attitude, and did not care about it, as he casually spoke, "You can give me the low-leveled spiritual grasses, I will need them for alchemy." Meng Jingxiu had already calmed down, and also gave a smile. "I don't want spiritual grasses, I didn't come here for spiritual grasses, I will give these spiritual grasses to you." Meng Jingxiu's words caused Ning Qing to feel a bit embarrassed. He wanted to explain, but after some thought, he decided against it. Meng Jingxiu really did not have any use for spiritual grasses. "I've always been alone, so I'm a bit of a loner. I don't know the right way to speak or do things. Previously in the Moze Grand Plaza, I hope that senior apprentice brother Ning does not mind." Meng Jingxiu had always wanted to sincerely apologize to Ning Qing, but now that she heard Ning Qing say that he wanted to learn alchemy, this kind of funny words, her mood immediately relaxed, and instead spoke it out. Ning Qing showed a faint smile. "I did not have a good impression of you before, but after I saw that your magical weapon was a halberd, I knew that you were a straightforward person, so I did not mind it at all. Actually, you should smile more. You look much prettier when you smile." Ning Qing came from Earth. Praising a woman for her beauty was a very normal thing, it did not necessarily mean that he would like others. Meng Jingxiu's skin was slightly dark, and she was indeed very beautiful. In the past, she had always kept a straight face. Now that she had more smiles on her face, it was normal for her to display her feminine charm. Meng Jingxiu's face turned slightly red, as she lowered her head and did not speak. Although she was confident that she was not ugly, but she knew that the reason Ning Qing said that she was beautiful was not because he liked her. This woman's intuition could not be expressed in words. Furthermore, there were too many things that she had to do. Finding a partner was simply impossible. "Oh, for essence-raising fruits." Ning Qing casually said a sentence, as he had already put this matter to one side. What attracted him was the row of 4 elemental-raising fruits. Generally, an essence-raising fruit would only bear 1 fruit per plant. Moreover, the branches of the essence-raising fruit were very small, like an ordinary blade of grass. The essence-raising fruit was the main spiritual fruit used to refine the essence-building Dan. Previously, because Ruemu Danqin had obtained an essence-raising fruit, she had almost provoked a fatal disaster. With the discovery of the essence-raising fruit, more and more spiritual grasses began to appear. The heaven-scented precious zoysia, returning boat flower, gyroscopic luo root, mistchi orchid and many other precious spiritual grasses were all discovered by Ning Qing. Seeing the heaven-fragrant precious zoysia, Ning Qing immediately remembered an Yi who was still in the Falling Star Academy. At that time, in order to find a heaven-fragrant precious zoysia, she had gone through a lot of hardships, but now he actually managed to obtain one. The Zhou Huanhua flower could be considered as a pill that could be refined for the cultivation of an essence-building cultivator. But the declivity luo root and the mist orchid were very amazing. Especially the declivity luo root, although its rank was not as high as the mist orchid, but it was a rank 4 spiritual grass of the best quality. This kind of spiritual grass could be used to refine the divine camel pill. The divine camel pill was a rank 4 true pill. When a low-leveled cultivator was cultivating, once they were distracted, then the divine camel pill would be the best pill. The spiritual grasses on this hill were enough to fill up Ning Cheng's 2 storage bags. Of course, this also included the ones that Meng Jingxiu had given him. Meng Jingxiu only kept a very small part of the spiritual grasses that she might use, and gave the rest to Ning Cheng. "This place is really good, junior apprentice sister Jingxiu, let's change to another hill and continue." Ning Cheng rubbed his hands, as he looked forward to the Angry Axe Valley. Meng Jingxiu gave an N sound, and hesitated for a moment before saying, "Senior apprentice brother Ning, why don't we first go to the place that I mentioned? Although there are many spiritual grasses here, but they are all low-leveled spiritual grasses. Because of the changes that occurred in the Angry Axe Valley, I am afraid that we might not be able to go to that place, and would already be transmitted out." Ning Qing immediately recovered from the thought of collecting countless spiritual grasses, and felt that what Meng Jingxiu said was not without reason. Who knows when the Angry Axe Valley would suddenly be transmitted out? Thinking till here, he cautiously asked, Junior Apprentice Sister Jingxiu, what kind of place is this in the Angry Axe Valley? Moreover, how did you know about this place? Meng Jingxiu did not have the time to answer. When Ning Qing felt as if the surroundings had suddenly turned violent, this kind of feeling made Ning Qing feel an extreme sense of danger. He simply did not have the time to think about it, as he directly grabbed Meng Jingxiu, and his whole body turned into a shadow, as he flew out of the hill. Meng Jingxiu, who was being held by Ning Qing, immediately knew that something had happened, as such she did not dare to move at all. Sure enough, the next moment a terrible explosion erupted at the place where the two of them were standing. Bang! A terrible explosion sounded from behind Ning Qing, as a formidable impact force directly hit Ning Cheng's back, causing the clothes on Ning Cheng's back to be torn to shreds. Bang! A sound rang out, as Ning Qing was directly hit by the formidable explosive force and fell into an abandoned pit in the distance, as he was pressed together with Meng Jingxiu. Meng Jingxiu's injuries had not yet completely healed, so when she was hit by Ning Qing, she immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Although Ning Qing was at essence building first level, but his true essence was incomparably vigorous, although the clothes on his back were blown to shreds, but he was not injured at all. He picked up Meng Jingxiu and said in an apologetic tone, I don't know what happened a moment ago, but the hill that we were standing on suddenly exploded. I did not pay attention, and let you get injured again. Meng Jingxiu stood up, as she wiped the blood from the corners of her mouth and said, I'm fine, if not for you a moment, perhaps I would not have been able to come out. All the people were looking at the hill that Ning Qing was standing on in amazement. At this time the hill had already disappeared, and had even turned into a deep pit. That kind of terrifying explosive force, even if it was given to any cultivator with the cultivation of essence building realm, they would not be able to withstand it. In other words, if they had been there to collect spiritual grasses, then they would have already died by now. Several of the essence-building cultivators were just about to come over and ask Ning Qing what had happened, when a few more violent explosions sounded out. 2 more hills suddenly exploded, but this time the cultivators inside the hills were not as lucky as Ning Qing and Meng Jingxiu. In addition to more than a dozen cultivators who managed to rush out, the cultivators inside the hills, or the cultivators nearby, did not manage to escape, as all of them turned into dust under the violent explosions. The cultivators who were still looking for spiritual grasses, or the cultivators who were still teaming up to break open the hills, immediately retreated. Sure enough, these cultivators had not gone far, when more and more hills began to explode. Finally, it formed into a continuous imposing manner, as the roaring sounds continued without end. Some of the cultivators who were not able to escape in time, were affected by the explosions in batches, and ended up falling. Sure enough, we escaped early. Ning Qing spoke with a lingering fear in his heart. If he had been even a little bit slower, then perhaps he would have already fallen under the explosions. But there was still a sentence that he did not say, that was, these explosions definitely had a reason. It was impossible for them to explode continuously without any reason, and blow up all the hills that had not yet been able to collect the spiritual grasses. The smoke and gravel and dust from the explosions had completely covered the entire area. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept towards Situ Yu and the others, and found that they were not in any danger, causing him to feel a bit relieved. The Angry Axe Valley, it is the Angry Axe Valley, the Angry Axe Valley has appeared. An incoherent voice sounded out. This voice immediately attracted the attention of all the people. Immediately more and more people began to call out incoherently. They really were able to see the Angry Axe Valley. Ning Qing and Meng Jingxiu also clearly saw a huge valley in front of them. This valley looked as if it had been carved out by an axe. It was flat and smooth. A trace of killing intent leaked out, causing people to feel a chill run down their spines. But Ning Qing vaguely felt that this Angry Axe Valley was somewhat different from the Angry Axe Valley that he had seen when he first came here, but as to what was different, he could not say it. The cultivators, who were initially depressed because of the flattened spiritual grass hill, became excited again. The hill was flattened, but the angry axe valley actually appeared. This was simply a real opportunity. As long as he could comprehend a little bit of axe intent in the angry axe valley, it would be a great trump card in the future. Did they not see the early-stage essence-building cultivator who had comprehended a trace of axe intent, kill 2 essence-building experts from the Red Heaven Academy? There was even one who was at essence-building 7th level. What did he rely on? This was the axe intent. Senior apprentice Brother Ning, I seem to feel a kind of killing intent. Meng Jingxiu also spoke up in a pleasantly surprised voice. Her halberd technique had an incomparably imposing manner, but she felt that it lacked a kind of concept. This kind of concept was the real killing intent. In other words, the halberd intent. If she could comprehend the halberd intent here, then her combat prowess would increase by more than 1-fold. Ning Qing saw that countless people were rushing towards the angry axe valley, and also nodded. You quickly go in, I'll come back to look for you in a while. Senior apprentice Brother Ning, are you not going in? Meng Jingxiu asked as she looked at Ning Qing in doubt. I can feel the axe intent here, I can feel it. Ning Qing quickly said. He could feel that this axe valley was somewhat similar to the axe valley that he had seen before, but it was definitely different. This axe valley looked very flat, but when one used their spiritual consciousness to observe the surroundings, one would find that the axe trace was surrounded by countless tiny cracks. But Ning Qing, from these cracks, was able to vaguely feel the third kind of axe intent that he had previously felt. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.